Alright, let's keep it 100 with you guys. 5 years ago, I literally woke up in ancient China as the brand new county magistrate of Bailong, which honestly is the absolute armpit of the entire empire. We're talking the literal wasteland where they exile criminals to suffer. Yep, that's my jurisdiction. Lucky me, right? But right before I could even clock into my new gig, I crossed paths with this woman. And bro, when I say woman, I mean the kind of goddess, tier baddie that completely shuts your brain down. Some assassins had poisoned her with a wild aphrodisiac, so I stepped up to save the day. One thing led to another and, well, yeah, easily the best night of my entire life. Followed by the worst morning ever, because she straight up vanished. No name, no digits. No casual. Hey, thanks for saving my life. Nothing. Just ghosted me like a beautiful, soul-crushing phantom. All she left behind was the memory of a crazy expensive jade pendant and a royal aura that basically screamed, "Bro, you are wildly out of your league. It's been 5 long years, and I'm still thinking about her. 5 whole years. Yeah, that's definitely unhealthy. Trust me, I know it's a problem." So, I lit up one of my homemade cigarettes. Oh yeah, I literally invented cigarettes here. Perks of being a modern military tech genius. I skate into the ancient past, don't ask, and told myself the dream is officially dead. Time to move on, man. I slicked my hair back with my custom-made gel, put on my ultimate alpha boss face, because today is an absolute massive milestone. Today, we celebrate Bailong County officially hitting 1 million citizens. That's right, this exact dump that used to have way more mosquitoes than actual humans now boasts a bigger population than the imperial capital. I spent 5 years transforming this wasteland into an absolute fortress. Using futuristic tech, paved concrete roads, skyscrapers and walls towering way higher than the imperial palace. I'm basically playing Civilization on hardcore mode and completely crushing it. So, I'm heading out to host my annual grand military parade, because obviously I throw annual military parades now. When my deputy suddenly comes sprinting in like he just saw a mythical unicorn. "Boss, there's a straight-up fairy outside. She's gorgeous. Got these huge eyes. Absolute 10 out of 10 body. Honestly, she puts our local beauty queens to shame, but she radiates this total ice queen aura. Majorly intimidating, way scarier than you, boss." At this point, I'm actually intrigued. I tell him to keep going, and this absolute clown size. Too bad she's carrying around a literal baby though. Word is, she's hunting down the kid's runaway dad. What a waste. Some total loser got to her first. My eye literally starts twitching. I kick him and snap, "Can you finish a single sentence without giving me a massive heart attack?" But here's the thing, I didn't connect the dots. Not even close, because apparently I'm a certified genius who can drag an entire fantasy county into the modern era. Yet I can't do the basic elementary school math on what happens 9 months after a wild one-night stand. Instead, I get all high and mighty about it. A deadbeat dad? Shacking up in MY County. Have the secretary open up a formal case file immediately. I'll personally crush this scumbag right after my parade. Because if there's one thing I absolutely despise, it's guys who abandon their own flesh and blood. And with that, I marched right out the door, feeling incredibly righteous and proud of myself. Meanwhile, and I obviously had zero clue back then, that gorgeous lady with the baby, it was her. My mysterious, unforgettable woman. Only she's not just some runaway noblewoman. She is the actual empress. The literal, all-powerful ruler of the entire empire. 5 years ago, she fled the capital during a bloody coup, stumbled into my territory half-dead from poison, and well, I accidentally ended up sleeping with the undisputed ruler of the known world. She eventually went back, slaughtered the traitors, reclaimed her throne, and then realized she was pregnant with my kid. A precious little girl named Huan, who is quite literally the most adorable thing on earth. Chubby, pinchable cheeks, massive eyes, and totally, utterly heartbroken that she's the only kid in the entire royal palace, without a daddy. So, this ruthless empress, who commands millions and executes rebels without blinking, is now standing right in the middle of my streets, staring blankly at my paved concrete roads, gazing up at my massive modern skyscrapers, and completely, utterly losing her mind. See, the last time she set foot here, this entire place was a toxic wasteland crawling with thugs and cannibals. Suddenly, her little daughter starts tugging at her sleeve, whispering, "Mommy, look, that's literally you on the wall." She was pointing straight at a missing persons poster. Turns out, I've been plastering her face everywhere for 5 whole years, acting like the most dedicated simp on the planet. But the Empress didn't even notice the poster, because my elite parade security squad was currently blocking the massive crowds off to the side of the road. With megaphones blasting, her brain was completely short-circuiting from the chaos. I mean, think about it, the actual capital only has 900,000 people. My supposedly backwater county just crossed 1 million. Our city walls are taller than her royal palace, and the paved roads are smoother than her luxurious throne. Room floor, she's just standing there frozen, thinking, there's no way this is Balin County. This is impossible. I must be dreaming. Meanwhile, on the exact opposite side of town, I'm casually reviewing my troops, completely clueless about the reality. I have zero idea that my mysterious one-night stand is the Empress, that I actually have a daughter, and that the woman I've been hunting for over 5 years is currently sitting right inside my own city hall, filing a missing baby daddy report with my literal personal secretary. Yeah, I'm gonna feel like an absolute idiot later. Cut to me, standing proud on the main grand stage, feeling like the ultimate king of the world. It's my parade day, my absolute moment to shine. I grab my high-tech megaphone and yeah, I casually invented megaphones in this world too. You're welcome, and I announced to the entire territory that our population just officially reached 1 million citizens. The entire crowd instantly goes absolutely feral. Long live the magistrate. Balin County is completely invincible. Okay, look, I get it. Chanting long live is strictly illegal and reserved only for the emperor. But honestly, the old emperor is dead, and there's some random new ruler on the throne that nobody out here gives a damn about. Plus, I literally transformed a disease-ridden swamp into a global superpower. I think I've rightfully earned a little long-live hype, don't you think? But back to the madness. Like I said, I was totally oblivious to what was happening. My royal baby mama, the Empress herself, was standing barely 3 blocks away from my stage, hearing my voice boom perfectly through the advanced speaker system, and she was completely losing her mind. You see, she had brought along her trusted eunuch bodyguard. This guy Ma San Bao decided to scout out Bei Yong before tracking me down. And let's just say the report he brought back reads straight up like a massive criminal indictment. Your Majesty. Their perimeter walls are reinforced with steel and concrete. They're literally stronger than the imperial capital's walls. Even the roads are paved with this crazy thing called cement, and they can lay down miles of it in a single day. Plus, it lasts for decades. On top of that, he's got 30,000 elite troops. Cut to the Empress standing there, going through all 5 stages of grief in real time. She literally came out here to find her baby daddy, but instead she just stumbled upon what looks to her like the biggest rebel faction in the entire empire. Oh, but it gets even better. Ma Sanbao dropped 10 whole gold coins, bribing a local source for premium intel, only to be told that I, the county magistrate, have been straight up robbing merchant caravans, kidnapping innocent villagers from 100 miles away, and forcibly dragging the indigenous mountain folks down from the hills, all just to pad my population numbers. Which, okay, look, I can totally explain. That's not exactly how it went down, but I guess I can see how. It looks incredibly sketchy from an outside perspective. So now, the Empress has compiled a massive rap sheet of my alleged crimes, illegally fortifying city walls, raising a massive private army, highway robbery, colluding with barbarians, and the big boss of charges, plotting a full-blown rebellion. Ma Sanbao was practically begging her to bail. Your Majesty, this place is a total death trap. We need to leave before they lock down the gates for the night. But nope, my girl. The Empress. Well, whoever she is, she goes full action hero mode. If I hadn't come out here to see this myself, I would have never known about this traitor, until his blade was pressed right against my throat. Summon the shadow guards. We're staying and we're investigating this. She even suspects I'm selling out the country to foreign enemies. Because, and honestly, that's a fair question. How does some middle-of-nowhere backwater county manage to feed 1 million troops? Yeah, that's sus as hell. Honestly, I respect the detective work, even if I'm the one in the crosshairs. But then, my parade kicked off, and things went from bad to worse for her. Talk about a spike in blood pressure, the drums started hitting. Boom, boom, boom. You could literally feel every single beat rattling your chest. From blocks away, my soldiers marched out in absolute flawless formation. Their lines were so razor-straight you could check them with a ruler. Every column, every diagonal, just pure mathematical perfection. And the Empress? The literal badass who personally trained the Empire's #1 elite guard unit? She got full-blown goosebumps. Actual chills. She stared at my troops and realized, my absolute best soldiers couldn't hold a candle to these guys. And the sheer scale of it? There were so many battalions she couldn't even see the end of the line. Oh, but here's the absolute best part. The massive crowd wasn't waving the national flag. Nope, they were flexing Bailong County flags. My flags. Yeah. I can see how that might look a tiny bit treasonous. Meanwhile, little Huan Huan was riding high on Ma Sanbao's shoulders, clapping and squealing, "Mommy, look at all the soldiers. So cool." The head eunuch was sweating bullets. The Empress was mentally drafting my execution warrant. And my adorable daughter, who I still have no clue exists, was having the absolute time of her life, watching her dad's mega army march past. And then there's me, just living my best life, thinking I'm just a humble, cool county magistrate, who built a neat little town, completely oblivious that the most powerful woman on earth is just 3 streets over, convinced I'm the Empire's most dangerous public enemy, while simultaneously being the mother of my child. Yep, this is totally fine. Everything is perfectly fine. Alright, showtime, my moment to shine. Leading the pack, the main guard battalion. My absolute OGs. The boys who've been riding with me since day one. Back when Bailong County was just a glorified name for a sad pile of dirt infested with mosquitoes. They marched past in terrifyingly perfect sync. And the second I boomed over the speakers, "Comrades, you've put in that work," they roared back, "We serve the magistrate. We serve the people." In one deafening, unified shout. Look, my eye did not just twitch with pride. That was pure allergies, okay? But seriously, I could hear every single rumor in the crowd because, well, I literally designed the acoustics of this entire city. Some old head was complaining, asking why the guard battalion was still rocking crossbows. Crossbows? Seriously? Shouldn't they upgrade? Like, even the night watchmen have moved past basic flintlocks by now. Then the scholar guy next to him claps back. Flintlocks? That is ancient history, my guy. You absolute casual. The new gear can rapid fire and drop targets from over 150 jong away. Which honestly, spot on. I've basically been speed running the entire timeline of military firearm development. We blew right past flintlocks like 2 years ago. Keep up, people. Next up, the second formation. Infantry packed with state-of-the-art rifles. Third formation. Heavy cavalry clad in full, gleaming steel plate armor. Every single rider. Let me flex for a second. The entire Daikin Empire can only afford to fully armor 5,000. Of their 100,000 horsemen, I've got 1,000 of them right here, and every single set is S-tier. Forged steel. Built in a county that used to be a literal swamp. Now, I'm not saying I'm better than the Emperor, but hey, the stats don't lie. Fourth formation. Scouts. Fifth. Heavy war chariots. Sixth. Seventh. Eighth. They just kept coming. An absolute half-hour parade of unstoppable military might. And once they finished marching into position, they didn't just break rank. They stood dead at attention. Silent. Perfect discipline from 30,000 soldiers. Not a single whisper. The entire city fell dead silent with them. 1,000,000 citizens collectively holding their breath. Then, the announcer, broadcasting through my custom-built speaker system, boomed, "All formations assembled. We request the Honorable Magistrate to begin the official inspection." Instantly, 30,000 soldiers roared in perfect unison. "We request the Magistrate to begin the inspection." And then, I swear on my life, I didn't plan this. The civilians joined in. 1,000,000 voices shaking the earth, begging the Magistrate to begin the inspection. Okay, maybe my eyes watered just a tiny bit. Damn allergies, I swear. But this is exactly where things started to get a little out of hand. I literally told the construction bureau to just hook me up with a standard ride. Keep it low-key, super modest, like a simple wooden wagon with a decent horse. Total humble vibes, right? Instead, these absolute clowns built me a straight-up war chariot, flexing a 9-horse engine. 9. Just for some context, the Emperor, yeah, the actual ruler of the land, traditionally rolls up in a chariot pulled by only 6 horses. That's the ultimate law. The Son of Heaven gets 6 max. It's been an unbreakable tradition for centuries. and here I am rocking 9. But what was I supposed to do? Send it back? The hype parade was already kicking off, so I climbed aboard this absolutely ridiculous megachariot, stood tall, slicked my hair back, gleaming like an absolute god in the sunlight, and rolled out. I looked exactly like the final boss of ancient China. I worked the crowd cruising past the troops, and the massive hype squads. "Comrades," I shouted, "you've been grinding hard," and they yelled back, "Not as hard as our legendary magistrate." I go, "Comrades, you're looking beautifully tanned." They roar, "The magistrate is way more tan." Look, I completely scripted that whole call and response myself, and I have zero regrets. The crowd was absolutely eating it up. Soldiers cheering, civilians literally weeping tears of pure joy, kids sitting on shoulders waving my county flag. It was peak, absolute peak fiction. Meanwhile, just 3 streets away, the Empress, who I still had no idea was there, was watching my illegal 9-horse flex roll past, biting her lip so hard it was about to bleed. She was mentally adding another massive charge to my growing rap sheet. Like, the Emperor only rides 6. How does this corrupt dog official dare to flex 9? But here's the catch that was completely breaking her brain. She could see that my soldiers weren't just standard parade decorations. They were absolute cold-blooded elites. These guys had terrifying conviction in their eyes, unshakable faith and massive pride. Even her own Imperial Guard didn't possess that level of ride-or-die loyalty. And don't even get started on the weapons. She was practically drooling. If the Empire could somehow mass-produce my advanced rifles, they could completely flip the script on the entire war. She was already plotting behind the scenes on how to confiscate my entire armory. She was having this hilarious, chaotic internal debate, where her thoughts went straight from, "I must execute this treasonous filth immediately," to, "Well, maybe if he cooperates and coughs up all his tech secrets, I might just spare his pathetic little life." Hold up, am I seriously catching feelings for this outlaw girl? Bro, that outlaw is literally your baby daddy, and he's been plastering missing person posters with your face on them for 5 straight years. But hey, keep plotting my execution, I guess. This is about to be the absolute most awkward family reunion in the entire history of Imperial China. So, I just wrapped up the most legendary parade of my life, cruising in my 9-horse chariot, feeling like ancient China's ultimate rock star. The crowd is screaming my name. My hair gel is fighting the wind flawlessly. Life is perfect. And then, the alarm shattered the vibe. Yep, that's my custom-built air raid siren. You heard me, I literally engineered sirens. Because when your city sits in a toxic 3-way border zone, surrounded by hostile empires, and your closest neighbors are bloodthirsty barbarian tribes, you learn to stay ready. Attention, citizens. An enemy barbarian horde, estimated at 100,000 strong, is marching directly toward Bailong County. Evacuate to your designated shelters immediately, in an orderly fashion. Women, children, and the elderly have priority. 100,000 barbarians trying to crash my parade day? The sheer audacity. I snatched the mic and had my announcer broadcast my exact words. These savages just ruined the celebration. For 1 million of my people. That means they've declared war on me. And 1 million united citizens. We will obliterate them. Anyone bold enough to invade Bailong, no matter how far they run or hide, will be wiped off the map. And 1 million voices roared in unison. No matter how far, they will be destroyed. Chills. Absolute goosebumps every single time. Now, here's what actually makes me the proudest. And I'm saying this as the genius who literally reinvented firearms. From absolute scratch. It's not the firepower. It's the people. Nobody panicked. Not a single soul. My civil defense corps, the guys rocking the black uniforms and red armbands, were already flooded on the streets, routing traffic seamlessly toward the bunkers. Before I could even issue the command. Even the local grandmas were out there calming the newcomers, treating a literal invasion like a casual Sunday picnic. Oh, bless your heart. You clearly aren't from around here, are you? Don't even sweat it, we get raided literally all the time. Just in the last few years we've clapped back against 80, maybe even 100,000 enemies. Our magistrate always handles business. Just follow the crowd, alright? We've got enough rations packed away in the bunkers to survive. A year or two. That is peak logistics right there, baby. I didn't just build some basic walls. I engineered a whole civilization. Meanwhile, oblivious to all of this, The Empress was out here getting emotionally destroyed. In real time. See? Right before the sirens started blaring, little Huan spotted me rolling up on my chariot, and completely lost her mind. Daddy! Mommy! Look! It's Daddy! He looks exactly like the painting. He's even more handsome in real life. She was screaming and waving at the top of her lungs, but the crowd was absolutely roaring. Nobody was paying attention to a 4-year-old. And then the massive crowd surged forward, shoving Ma Sanbao straight backward. By the time they could finally look back up, my chariot had already flexed right past them. Huan instantly burst into tears. Daddy didn't even look at me? Does Daddy hate me? The Empress desperately tried to comfort her, saying, he's just really busy right now, sweetie. He didn't see you. But here is the real kicker. The Empress actually saw me perfectly. Well, she saw the back of my head. She just didn't recognize me at all. To her, I was just the legendary rebel magistrate. So she figured, maybe her baby daddy was just a random soldier in my army, or lost in the sea of people on the other side. She even rationalized that the poor kid was just so desperate for a father. She completely hallucinated it. Like there are a million people in the city, and she can't track down the one guy, who literally happens to be the most high-profile person in the entire county. I'm standing on a massive chariot, pulled by 9 horses, basked in literal spotlights. I'm starting to think fate is just straight-up trolling us. At this point, right then, the barbarian alarm sounded, and the Empress instantly locked in, switching into full military genius mode. She watched closely as my evacuation protocols flawlessly rolled out. Evacuate civilians first. Elders and kids are top priority. Get everyone to the shelters in an orderly line. And right then, something clicked inside her. Her mind flashed back to the bloody palace coup 5 years ago. She remembered how many innocent civilians died, how many women and children were utterly slaughtered, just because nobody gave a damn about protecting them. The capital's population hadn't even fully recovered from that absolute disaster. Yet here was this supposedly traitorous official, running some backwater county with an emergency response that completely shamed the entire imperial government. Honestly, she felt a wave of pure shame. The actual empress of the realm, feeling completely humbled by a mere county magistrate, aka me. The exact same guy she was actively planning to execute. Oh, and speaking of my execution, she actually decided to update my sentence. Wow, how generous of her. As she watched my soldiers sprint to defensive positions, seeing how the locals trusted me with their literal lives, she thought, you know what? If he actually wins this impossible battle, I won't wipe out his entire bloodline. I'll just kill him. Gee, thanks, babe. Super sweet of you. The mother of my child is graciously downgrading my punishment from a full-on clan genocide to a solo decapitation. Hey, that's progress. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 100,000 barbarians to absolutely obliterate on what was supposed to be my day off. Alright, so the barbarian horde is closing in. 100,000 of them, with their terrifying wolf cavalry leading the charge. We're talking 30,000 heavy armored riders. Heck, even their giant wolves wore armor. Total nightmare fuel for literally anyone else. Except me. My boys were battle-ready within minutes. The guard battalion, the elite riflemen, everyone was locked and loaded before my morning tea even got cold. Because that's just how we roll in Beilong. We don't panic, we lock in. But honestly, the barbarians weren't what worried me. My real concern was Zhang Wei, the border general stationed over at Beilong Pass. See, 5 years ago, I paid this guy a massive bribe to look the other way. Because if he had ever reported what I was secretly building out here, the imperial court would have sent a whole army to crush me, trying to shut me down before I could even invent concrete. But over the years, we became legit brothers. Naturally, I invited him to today's massive celebration, and he RSVP'd with an absolute yes. Yet, he's a no-show, which can only mean one thing. Those savage barbarians intercepted him. Slamming my fist onto the table, I roared, "Deploy every single scout. Find him, dead or alive." Flanking me was my powerhouse of a personal bodyguard, Eagle Eye. Though his birth name is literally Big Chicken, this absolute unit is the former chief of a mountain tribe. Standing a towering 7 feet tall, he swings a massive wolf fang club as big as a grown man, rocks a fierce mohawk, and has these sharp triangle eyes that scream pure menace. Except, he's totally cross-eyed, which completely ruins the vibe. Instead, he just looks like an incredibly pissed off, yet utterly confused puppy. I dubbed him Eagle Eye because, look, I thought the irony was hilarious. Okay? Right now, Eagle Eye is aggressively waving his club, shouting, "Boss, let me go out there and smash him to pieces." But then, Red Lady, my brilliant chief of combat medicine, shuts him down without missing a beat. There are 30,000 heavy cavalry charging across open plains. Exactly how many can you flatten? 3? 4? Yeah, Red Lady is built different. She's a badass former warrior I saved 4 years back, carved like an absolute fitness model, and she wields a terrifying, horse-cleaving saber. With her piercing, sharp eyebrows, she radiates the energy of a lethal female. Action hero straight out of a classic kung fu flick. While she flawlessly runs my field hospital, she's also been giving me those intense, "I would literally die for you" eyes for years now. Of course, I play completely dense and ignore it, because I'm still hopelessly hung up on my mystery girl, who, to be fair, I still don't actually know is the Empress. So yeah, my love life is an absolute train wreck. But my military strategies? Pur chef esquisse. The barbarian horde collides with my first line of defense. The spiked barricades. They manage to push through. Honestly, cool. Totally expected. But then they hit the second line. The razor wire. They brute force through that too. Alright, fine. Looks like they actually learned from their last defeat. But then comes the third line. The minefield. Boom. 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 Heavy armored horses are sent ragdolling through the sky, and their so-called elite cavalry are eating straight dirt. The ground literally turned into a straight-up meat grinder. Absolutely beautiful. Nice. Hold the cannons for now. Let M push deeper so not a single soul escapes. See, I'm not just playing defense here. I'm straight-up harvesting. My territory needs serious resources. Va horses. Iron, coal, salt, and that barbarian territory is sitting on a gold mine. Honestly, I was already planning to invade them right after the parade. They just saved me the trip by delivering themselves right to my doorstep. But okay, these barbarians aren't completely brain-dead. They actually brought siege catapults, capable of hurling 30-pound boulders across 40 meters. Now, their accuracy is absolute trash, but that junk can still leave a dent. Once they finally pushed past the minefield and fully committed their forces, I gave the signal. All 50 cannons, the absolute peak of my military engineering, opened fire from the fortress walls all at once. Modern artillery versus medieval cavalry? Bro, it was like bringing a flamethrower to a snowball fight. Wolf cavalry were literally flying in every direction. Horses screaming. It was absolute beautiful carnage. Hell yeah, blow these sons of. Keep firing. Give 'em more. I was having the absolute time of my life, watching the show through my telescope. Man, if I just had a few more resources and a couple of years, I could easily conquer this entire world. All those neighboring empires? One massive bomb and they'd all be calling me daddy. But then, because the universe can never just let me have one good day, I noticed the wolf cavalry suddenly pulling back and emerging through the smoke, tied up and aggressively shoved to the front lines. Like a literal human shield, was John Wei. My brother, my main guy, the one person keeping my ultimate secret safe from the Empire, captured, bound, and completely surrounded by barbarian riders. Cease fire. Cease fire. Now, my soldiers were totally in the zone. They were shredding these barbarians like a blender, and suddenly I'm screaming at them to stop. But thankfully they obeyed instantly, because discipline is discipline. Then one barbarian rider galloped right up to my wall, bold as hell, and started shouting, "We've got your precious General Zhang Wei right here. If you ever want to see him alive, hand over all your firearms." I just stood there on the fortress wall, glaring down at this clown. The smoke was still clearing, the cannon barrels were still red hot, and my blood went from boiling with the pure thrill of battle to boiling with absolute, unadulterated rage. You literally kidnapped my brother, ambushed my city right in the middle of my parade day, and now you have the audacity to demand my guns. Buddy? You have absolutely no idea what kind of hell you just unleashed. Alright guys, let me break down for you the absolute wildest hostage negotiation in the history of ancient China, starring yours truly. So here's Zhang Wei, my big bro, tied up like a literal dumpling in front of a massive army of 100,000 barbarians. Meanwhile, their arrogant little messenger is standing right under my wall, barking out orders. Surrender your weapons, or we'll sell him off to your worst enemies. If you let him die, your own government will execute you for treason. Yada yada yada. Just shut up, I snapped. Send him over, and you can have your stupid weapons. The guy's brain literally short-circuited right then and there. He clearly had a whole dramatic speech prepared, and I just completely shut it down by agreeing instantly. Nobody saw that coming. Not him, not my own soldiers, literally nobody. My officers went absolutely wild. Sir, don't do it. It's a blatant trap. Eagle Eye was furiously spinning his massive club in the air, screaming bloody murder about turning barbarian skulls into chamber pots, while Red Lady was trying to keep it cool and tactical, urging, "My lord, please, do not fall for their tricks." Every single soldier on my wall was practically begging me to let them charge out there and die in a blaze of glory instead. But then Zhang Wei, this absolute, golden-hearted legend, started tearing up and yelling to me from the field. "Little brother, forget about me. I've taken enough lives for one lifetime anyway. Being your brother has been the greatest honor of my entire life. If we're reborn in the next life, I swear I'll be your brother all over again." Then his captured guards joined in, shouting, "We'd rather be blown to pieces by your cannons than die by barbarian hands. Fire on our position, General. Wipe these bastards out." Talk about real warrior energy. It literally brought tears to everyone's eyes on that wall. Even the cold-hearted Red Lady was choked up, whispering, "Now those are the true men of Dacian." Dude was losing his absolute mind, itching for a fight. But me, I just grabbed my megaphone and dropped the most cold-blooded line of my entire life. I don't believe in gods, I don't believe in heaven, and I definitely don't believe in reincarnation. If we're gonna be brothers, we're doing it in this lifetime. Zhang Wei, sit tight. I'm coming to get you. And if anyone scratches a single hair on your head, I will literally erase the entire barbarian race from history. Yeah, I actually blasted that through a megaphone, right in front of 100,000 enemies. Was it pure theatrical drama? Absolutely. Did I mean every single word? You bet your life I did. Their commander, Sai Hao, head of the Wolf Cavalry, total big shot, whipped out his own megaphone and tried to negotiate. "Give us 10 cannons, 100 muskets, 100 telescopes, 10,000 grenades, and all the manufacturing blueprints." My soldiers almost had a collective aneurysm right then and there. But I just said, "Deal." Everyone thought I had completely lost my marbles. But here's the ultimate truth about me, and I'm saying this with zero modesty. I am legally the smartest person in this entire world, backed by a 400-year technological head start. These barbarians really think they're swindling me? Honestly, that's adorable. I even threw in a casual threat just to seal the deal. "Sai Hao, you should be thanking your lucky stars I'm cooperating. Because if you push it, I will gladly slaughter every last one of you. Sure, Zhang Wei dies in the crossfire, but I'll just tell the imperial court he died a martyr. He gets to be a legendary national hero, while your people face total extinction. Your call." Sai Hao went completely radio silent after that. Then he quickly agreed to a split swap. Half the hostages for half the weapons. Rinse and repeat for the rest. He sent over the first wave of Zhang Wei's personal guards. I had my men winch them up the wall in massive baskets. Poor guys were literally slapping themselves and crying, sobbing, "We completely failed you, my lord. Look, real men don't kneel. Get up. I'm kinda busy here, so stop the waterworks." Then I sent down my half of the bargain. The cannons, the muskets, the telescopes, the grenades, and the blueprints. Literally every single thing they demanded. My own soldiers could only watch in absolute horror, as these barbarian riders happily rolled away with our top-tier arsenal. Saya was so hyped up his eyes practically turned blood-red. He immediately snatched up one of my custom grenades. This high-grade Sky Thunder model lit the fuse, and yeeted it straight into an empty field just to see it blow. Boom! Horses started losing their minds. The entire ground shook, and Saiha was absolutely giddy. Haha! With firepower like this, our barbarian nation is going to rise to absolute greatness. Yeah, sure, buddy. Keep telling yourself that. He signaled his crew to finally send Zhang Wei and the rest of the hostages back toward my wall. Right on cue, I started lowering the second batch of weapons. Everything was going perfectly smooth. The trade was almost a done deal. Saya was practically vibrating with excitement, probably already drafting his master plan for world domination. And then his head straight up exploded. Just pop. Like a ripe watermelon getting absolutely obliterated by a sledgehammer. Blood, brains, and skull fragments went flying all over his heavily armed bodyguards. His lifeless corpse just flopped right off his horse and ate the dirt. See, while I was standing up there, playing the part of the world's most submissive, cooperative negotiator, I had whispered one quiet little order that absolutely nobody picked up on. Sniper team, lock onto Saya. Did you seriously think I was just gonna hand over my weapons and let this clown walk away alive? Please. I've been itching to permanently delete this man for years. He literally rode right up to my turf and shoved his face in my business. On my own parade day, all while holding my brother hostage. The gear, the blueprints, every bit of it is completely useless without my brain. I can tweak the chemical formulas, redesign the specs, and turn everything I just gave them into overpriced paperweights. But Saya's head? Yeah, that's a one-time, non-refundable, absolutely zero exchanges accepted kind of deal. Merry Christmas, you filthy barbarians. The exact second Saya's dome popped like a grape, all hell broke loose. My sniper squad, who, by the way, were brand new and fresh out of training, after 5 long years of intense R&D just to perfect these rifles, started systematically dropping every single barbarian guarding Zhang Wei. One shot, one body. Pop, pop, pop. They collapsed. Right off their mounts like someone just flipped the master kill switch. Not a single one of them even had time to process what hit him. Sniper 1, target neutralized. Sniper 2, threat eliminated. Sniper 3, man, that is music to my ears. Easily the most flawless debut of any military unit in history. 5 stars, highly recommend, would absolutely fund again. The very second Zhang Wei's path was clear, I roared the exact words my entire army had been begging to hear. Fire at will. Let 'em have it. Unleash absolute hell on these absolute clowns. Cannons thundered, and a black rain of crossbow bolts blotted out the sun. It was 5 solid minutes of pure, unadulterated rage. From a legion that had been forced to stand down. Right in the middle of a war zone. Pro tip. Never blueball 30,000 bloodthirsty soldiers and expect mercy. Eagle Eye immediately grabbed a rope, whipped it around his wrist, gripped his massive club with his one free hand, and straight up yeeted himself off the fortress wall. Just like that, whoosh, gone. A 7-foot, cross-eyed berserker sliding down a castle wall, wielding a weapon roughly the size of a redwood tree. Red Lady took one look and dove right in after him. Because of course she did. They crossed the distance to Zhong Wei in a heartbeat. Eagle Eye snatched him up by the scruff like a stray kitten. Zhong Wei, bless his delusional little heart, actually tried to act tough, yelling, "Give me a blade. Let me fight Eagle Eye." So Eagle Eye literally stuffed him in a basket. "Sit down, kid. You're a walking liability." Zhong Wei's face flushed bright red, but he couldn't even argue. He'd been tied up for hours, and his legs were like jelly, getting trampled during Eagle Eye's one-man meat grinder session would have just been embarrassing for everyone. Eagle Eye then hijacked a random barbarian horse, leaped into the saddle and charged straight into the horde, swinging his club, and screaming like an absolute psychopath. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I heard him giggling. In between the war cries, the dude is seriously unhinged, and I love him for it. Meanwhile, I shoved the drummer aside, grabbed the mallets, and started pounding the war drums myself. Sleeves rolled up, veins practically popping out of my neck. Everyone looks at me and sees some frail, pencil-pushing magistrate. Surprise, idiot. I've been hitting the gym in secret for 5 years, because I actually value my life. Hidden beneath this scholar's robe is a physique forged by pure, unadulterated survival paranoia. Tiger cavalry charge. The fortress gates burst wide open. And right on cue, my 1,000 heavy-armored riders burst onto the scene, like they were literally shot out of a cannon. Flashing sabers, a wall of deadly lances. It was absolute, unadulterated devastation. Without Saya, the legendary wolf cavalry was running around like a headless chicken, and I mean that literally, since, their commander's head was currently painted across the pavement. They completely panicked and broke formation. The single most feared cavalry force on the entire continent instantly devolved into 100,000 clueless dudes, just desperately trying to remember which way was home. At this point, it wasn't even a battle anymore. It was a straight-up one-sided buffet. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei scrambled up the wall, dropped to one knee, and immediately started begging for forgiveness. "Brother, I screwed up big time. I can't even look you in the eye." I cut him off. "Zhang Wei, I'm kind of busy beating this war drum. I can't micromanage the battlefield while keeping this beat going. You're the general here. Take the wheel and tell my army exactly where to crush them." He blinked in shock, then stood up straight, his eyes locked in. From this moment on, I am completely at your command. And boom, just like that, the greatest border general in the entire empire officially became my ride or die. No more keeping things low-key or plotting in the shadows. He went all in, instantly taking over tactical command. And orchestrating my troops like a maestro. They moved to completely choke out any escape routes. Total runtime of the battle? Less than a single hour. The barbarian body count? Well over 10,000 dead, including 3,000 of those elite wolf cavalry, now serving as permanent decorations right outside my gates. Just for a little context, though, the previous emperor's absolute best milestone against these exact raiders in his entire lifetime was taking down maybe 500 guys. My small-town county just wiped out 3,000 of their absolute best. Before lunch. Talk about built different. Meanwhile, deep down in the underground bunkers where I'd stashed all the civilians, the Empress was currently having yet another massive existential crisis. Ma Sanbao was desperately covering little Huan's ears, shaking like a leaf, stuttering, What on earth is that horrific sound? Is that thunder on a perfectly sunny day? Now, the local Baiyong women hanging out in the shelter thought his absolute terror was peak comedy. One little girl almost accidentally blurted out the classified name of our secret weapons, but the older ladies immediately shushed her. Honestly, these townspeople have tighter operational security than most actual militaries. I really did train them well. Ma Sanbao then tried to flex his supposedly superior imperial wisdom, asking, can a measly 3,000 troops seriously hold the line against a barbarian horde? Military text explicitly states that if the barbarians number over 10,000, they are completely invincible. Hearing this, every single woman and little girl, but the granny in the shelter just straight up laughed in his face. Unbeatable? Oh honey, please. We've been wiping the floor with those clowns for years. Honestly, if our magistrate wanted to, he could have completely erased them from existence ages ago. He's just been way too busy building up our infrastructure. Ma Sanbao was completely left speechless. I mean, in the rest of the empire, people literally shake with fear at the mere mention of barbarians. But out here in my county, old ladies roast them like they're doing a stand-up comedy routine. Right then, the shelter doors swung open. Total victory. We absolutely crushed them. The barbarian forces are in full retreat. Ma Sanbao's jaw instantly hit the floor. Bro, it hasn't even been a single hour. The Empress flat out refused to believe it. She thought it had to be a trap, a total diversion. No one dismantles the legendary wolf cavalry that fast. Except it wasn't a trick at all. My cleanup crews were already out there sweeping the entire battlefield. Ma Sanbao was still in pure denial. 3,000 wolf cavalry? They're capping. They must have just fought regular barbarian grunts. Nobody just massacres 3,000 elite cavalry like that. That's completely insane. Yeah, sure, buddy. Keep coping. As soon as they stepped outside the shelter, the entire city was already completely back to normal. People were casually shopping, kids were playing, acting like a massive army of 100,000 barbarians hadn't just attacked. Literally 20 minutes ago, just another casual Tuesday in Bailong. But then, just as the Empress was about to take a sleepy little Huang to find a local inn, a squad of guys in slick blue uniforms completely cornered them. You three, you're coming with us. And that is right where things got spicy. For our undercover Empress. See, when suspicious strangers suddenly roll into my town, asking highly classified questions, and straight up bribing locals for military intel? Oh yeah, we notice. Welcome to Bailong County, Your Majesty. Hope you enjoyed the little tour. Now, it's time for us to have a little chat. Cut to the post-battle debrief. My commanders lined up to drop the final body count. We absolutely obliterated 16,000 elite wolf cavalry, along with 4,800 regular cavalry troops. Total barbarian casualties? Well over 20,000 dead, plus 11,000 prisoners of war and all their war horses seized. 30,000 enemy weapons captured. A literal mountain of loot. Our total losses? Just 2 guys dead. 20 serious injuries and about 200 minor scratches. That is a mind-blowing kill ratio of over 10,000 to 1. In any normal empire, they'd be building massive statues of me right now, writing epic anthems, and naming their newborns after me. I ordered my commanders to stand up and stop groveling on the floor, but immediately chewed them out for letting anyone get hurt in the first place. This was supposed to be a total one-sided slaughter. Yet you guys still managed to take damage? double their training regimens the second they heal up. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei was standing nearby, his jaw completely on the floor. The man has 25 years in the military and 15 years holding this border. His absolute personal best against these barbarians was probably a few hundred kills max. And he just watched me literally delete 20,000 of them in under an hour with barely 2 casualties. But now, here is the absolute worst part. And look, I know this sounds completely insane, but hear me out, we actually won way too hard. See, all those high-tech weapons I traded away to the barbarians? Total garbage. The flintlocks were completely outdated junk. No ammo, meaning absolutely zero threat. And the grenades? Come on, I'm not an idiot. Only the very top layer of the crates was real. The rest were nothing but training duds that physically cannot explode. The heavy cannons were way too massive for them to retreat with, so we recovered every single one. The only real loss was the spyglasses, which is slightly annoying, but totally fine. Listen, I've been running this hustle for 5 years. Every single spy, every sneaky thief, and every scheming neighbor who tried to rip off my technology has walked away with meticulously engineered trash. Did they seriously think I'd hand lethal, working firearms to a horde of barbarians? I literally invented these things. I know exactly how to sabotage them from the start. No, it's the sheer scale of this victory that is incredibly dangerous. Zhang Wei pulled me into a private room the second the coast was clear. Brother, you need to become the Supreme Border General. Actually, scratch that. You need to take absolute command of the entire military. I aggressively shook my head so hard it almost snapped off. No. Absolutely not. I am just a simple, humble, low-level county magistrate who just wants a peaceful, quiet life. Zhang Wei looked at me like he wanted to straight-up strangle me. See, here is our massive dilemma. Normally, we only report minor, low-stakes victories to the capital. Maybe 50 enemy kills here, 100 kills there. Keeps things nice and steady, and makes Zhang Wei look perfectly competent. It keeps the high table happy and avoids any awkward questions. A flawless system, sure, but 20,000 bodies in a single clash? If we actually report that, the Imperial Court is going to deploy bloodhounds immediately. They'll poke around and boom. They'll dig up my cannons, my heavy rifles, my entire concrete fortress, a metropolis of 1 million people, and my insane 9-horse chariot. After that, I'm literally done for. So what if we chop this up into 10 separate updates? Like 1 report a month? I pitched. Zhang Wei just rubbed his temples, totally stressed. Try stretching it to 2 years. If the High Council sees these massive numbers all at once, they'll order me to completely annihilate the rest of the barbarians, and your entire secret operation gets exposed. Think about it. Most generals would literally kill for a flex like this. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei was out here, desperately figuring out how to sweep it under the rug. The guy had achieved so much legendary military glory that he was treating it like straight-up radioactive waste. Ultimately, we locked in a strategy. Spread the cloud around, throw some promotions at random officers, and drip-feed the casualty count over the next 2 years. Standard, high-level bureaucratic camouflage. All right, enough business. I laughed, tossing my arm right around his shoulder. You missed my grand parade, got yourself captured, and almost checked out early. Let's hit up that wild new VIP bathhouse, Red Romance. We'll just soak, decompress, and wash off all this bad juju. Zhang Wei finally nodded. Finally, a moment of peace. Sir, emergency intel just came in. Bro, you have got to be kidding me. What is it now? The Security Bureau just bagged 3 spies. I scoffed, totally annoyed. Then deal with it yourself. That is literally what you get paid for. The officer shifted, looking incredibly awkward. Well, sir. One of the suspects is a toddler under 5 years old, and they're all rocking elite capital city accents. My mind went blank. 3 high-tier spies from the capital, and one of them is literally a toddler? Now, any normal person would instantly connect the dots here. A mysterious woman from 5 long years ago, a royal jade pendant, elite capital city roots, showing up at my doorstep hunting down a baby daddy, accompanied by a tiny, pint-sized kid. But me, the absolute gigachad who reinvented gunpowder, engineered massive cannons from scratch, and transformed a literal swamp into an unstoppable empire? I just sighed, shaking my head. Straight from the capital, huh? Interesting. Let's go see what we're dealing with. So much for our relaxing bath. Zhang Wei shot me a look. I locked eyes right back with him. Yeah, Neither of us was making it to that bathhouse tonight, because apparently out here in Bayou County, you can't even clutch a massive victory in war without immediately stumbling face first into the next catastrophic crisis. My own security team just straight up arrested the Empress of China and her daughter on suspicion of high-stakes espionage. Oh boy, this is about to be the longest day of my entire life, and it's not even close to dinner time yet. So Zhang Wei and I immediately booked it to the security bureau. But I told him to pull the brakes and slow down. Let the bullets fly for a bit, I muttered. Think about it. If these spies actually manage to slip through Bayun Pass, that means someone inside Zhang Wei's inner circle must have leaked his classified travel itinerary. It's the exact same leak that got him ambushed and captured by the barbarians. Zhang Wei immediately narrowed the suspects down to just 2 people, who actually knew about his departure, his right-hand man Lu Yong and his officer Sui Hai. I told him we'd feed them some juicy, fake intel later on, and see who takes the bait. Your textbook, classic mole hunt. Look, I've binge-watched a ton of spy thrillers in my head. Perks of being a time traveler from the future. Blessed with absolute photographic memory. But if things get ugly at the pass, I only brought a dozen guys with me. Zhang Wei started stressing out. I can back you up with my troops. Easy there. I cut him off. One crisis at a time. Now, next problem. Meanwhile, over at my security bureau, things were getting wild. My ruthless chief of security, Neo Dajin, lovingly known as Big Tight Neo, and yeah, that is somehow his actual real name, had Ma Sanbao completely strapped down to a brutal tiger bench, with his eyelids literally pinned open so the guy couldn't even blink. The poor old eunuch was sobbing absolute rivers of tears. Suddenly, Neo Dajin slammed his fist onto the interrogation table and demanded they bring out the heavy-duty steel needles. We're talking massive, thick ones. He glares and barks. Start talking, or I am shoving these bad boys deep under all 21 of your fingertips. Ma Sanbao, crying his eyes out, blurted, 21. Human beings only have 10 fingers. The ancient proverb literally says 10 fingers are connected to the heart. Neo Dajin flashed a sinister, menacing grin. Fingers and toes. That makes 20. So, why 21, you ask? Neo Dajin slowly shifted his gaze downward. Ma Sanbao slammed his legs shut so fast. He straight up gave himself whiplash. See, the guy's a eunuch. If they find out, his cover is blown, the Empress is compromised, and the whole operation goes up in flames. Plus, he was already sweating bullets because, well, occupational hazards of the down there variety. Meanwhile, in the other interrogation room, things were turning into a high-stakes psychological chess match. My lead interrogator, Xia Hongmei, insanely smart and sharp as an absolute razor, was breaking down the Empress. And honestly, credit where credit's due, Hongmei was a masterclass. So, you're supposedly looking for your husband? Cute story. But why would your husband head to this absolute wasteland? 5 years ago? Why 0 letters? Why radio silence? You even filed a report at the magistrate's office, which is exactly what a highly trained spy would do, to manufacture a perfect cover story. You're gorgeous, clearly highborn, and your alibi is full of massive holes. The Empress tried to keep her composure, but Hongmei kept twisting the knife. I mean, you really don't want this adorable little girl growing up without her mom. Now do you? And little Huan, my own daughter, who I still have no clue is mine, was shaking with absolute terror but refused to shed a tear. She clenched her tiny fists and screamed, "Don't you dare touch my mommy. My mommy hasn't even found my daddy yet. When my daddy gets here, he is going to absolutely wreck you all." Obviously, nobody in the room took a 4-year-old's threat seriously. I mean, duh. But then, the guards physically tried to rip Huan away from her mother, and the Empress went full-on dragon mode. Whatever insane imperial aura she'd been suppressing just exploded. We're talking the kind of soul-crushing pressure that makes seasoned interrogators freeze in their tracks. Even Hongmei hesitated. Meanwhile, next door, Ma Sanbao was squealing like a stuck pig, under Neo Dajin's brutal hands-on interrogation, and the Empress heard every single shriek. She was practically vibrating with rage. "If you lay a single hand on my people, I will end every last one of you." Hongmei just sighed. Yeah, everyone talks tough in this chair, but they all end up begging. And with that, she prepared to get her own hands dirty, to separate a mother from her child, when, "Greetings, Lord Magistrate." The guards outside instantly snapped to attention.
Hongmei face li up.
Talk about perfect timing. The magistrate had finally arrived. Let's see how these spies handle him. And just like that, I walked right into the building, where my secret daughter was crying her eyes out. My long-lost lover was ready to straight-up murder everyone, and her sketchy bodyguard was desperately trying to hide the fact that he was missing his equipment. At the time, I still had absolutely no idea what was waiting for me behind that door. But honestly, after the absolute chaos of today, a massive parade, a barbarian invasion, a hostage crisis, a sniper assassination attempt, and securing a 20,000 kill victory all before sunset. I mean, how much worse could it possibly get? Famous last words. I strolled into the interrogation room, ready to break some spies. Keep it cool, calm, and professional. My second-in-command, Neo Dajin, quickly briefed me on the situation. The middle-aged guy fainted. Before we could even start the interrogation, he just saw the needles, peed himself, and passed out. We actually had to give him heart meds. Wow, I replied. World's worst spy. What about the woman? Total ice queen. She won't break. Definitely a trained assassin. Perfect. I love a challenge. Time to show these rookies how a master does it. I pushed open the door and immediately heard a little girl sobbing. Mommy! Don't be scared, Warner. Mommy's right here. Don't be scared. My heart gave a tiny squeeze. Using kids as cover for espionage? Disgusting. These people truly have no shame. But then the little girl shifted, and I finally saw the woman's face. My brain instantly crashed. Full system shut down. Blue screen of death. Because sitting right there in my interrogation chair, clutching a toddler, and staring back at me with those unmistakable eyes, was her. The exact same woman. 5 years. 5 agonizing years of sleepless nights, useless search parties, and chain-smoking cheap cigarettes. At midnight while staring at the moon, like a pathetic, lovesick idiot. And there she was, sitting right inside my own security headquarters, getting interrogated as a foreign spy by my own damn men. Why you? I pointed a shaking finger, my brain completely short-circuiting. Wow, real smooth. Super dignified for a magistrate, right? Meanwhile, Hong Mei tried to warn me. Sir, keep your distance. She's a highly trained assassin. But I brushed right past her like she wasn't even there. My legs felt like pure lead, weighing 1,000 pounds each. My throat completely tightened up. 5 agonizing years of searching, and she just randomly shows up in handcuffs in my own office? Are you okay? Do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? The entire room went dead silent. Hong Mei's face cycled through 50 shades of panic. In a fraction of a second as the pieces finally clicked. The spy who claimed she was only looking for her husband, and the fearsome magistrate who just turned into a bumbling mess. Oh no. Oh no. My woman slowly lifted her chin, meeting my gaze, and absolutely iced me with the coldest look imaginable. I didn't come here for you. The kid wanted to see what her father looked like, so I brought her. Now let us go. My brain froze. I stared at the tiny human cradled in her arms, then back to her and then back to the little girl. My baby? She's mine. If you don't want us, fine. We'll leave. No, I want you. She's my daughter. Nobody is taking my little girl anywhere. I literally roared those words at the top of my lungs, right in front of my entire intelligence squad. I had absolutely zero chill left. The legendary magistrate, the tactical genius who just outplayed 100,000 barbarians, was having a full-blown public meltdown over a 4-year-old. Hong Mei looked ready to pass out. The color drained from her face so fast. She must have experienced instant vertigo. She just realized that for the past hour, she had been threatening to tear the magistrate's wife and child apart. She had interrogated my own family. She had put her hands on my daughter. And she had branded my wife a lethal enemy spy. Her entire life flashed before her eyes. My wife just looked down at the whimpering little girl. Juan. Look, that's your daddy. And yeah, he's a pretty bad man. He's the monster who hurt Mommy. Don't worry, Mommy. I'll protect you. She wouldn't even look in my direction. She was absolutely terrified of everyone in that room, genuinely thinking I was one of the bad guys. She was trying to shield her mother with her tiny, fragile body. And right then, my heart shattered into a million pieces. Sweetheart, please. It's Daddy. Just turn around and look at me. You're not my daddy. I screamed for Daddy during the parade, but he totally ignored me. He doesn't want me at all. Wait. During the parade, when she was sitting on Ma Sanbao's shoulders, screaming for her dad, she had actually spotted me riding on my ridiculous 9-horse chariot. And I had just rolled right past her because the crowd was way too loud, and I didn't have a single clue my own flesh and blood even existed. I have never felt like a bigger piece of garbage in my entire life, and that includes the time I accidentally invented gunpowder the completely wrong way and vaporized my own workshop. I tried everything, soft talking, wild promises, straight up begging, but nothing worked. One girl refused to look at me, and the other refused to smile. I was slowly dying on the inside. So, I did what any emotionally overwhelmed guy does. I found someone to take it out on. I whipped around and locked eyes with Neo Daejin, glaring with the burning fury of 1,000 suns. Who is the idiot that arrested my wife and daughter? Neo Daejin's knees buckled so fast. He practically teleported straight to the floor. My lord, I am so incredibly sorry. Every single guard standing behind him hit the deck, like a pack of falling dominoes. Please forgive us. We had no idea. And this is the part that completely threw me off. Zhong Wei also dropped down to his knees. Zhong Wei, what on earth are you doing? I'm not yelling at you, man. Get up. But Zhong Wei wasn't kneeling because he was terrified of me. He was kneeling because he finally recognized her. See, while I was busy having a massive existential crisis, Zhong Wei's tactical military brain was doing what tactical military brains do best. Analyzing the facts. Insanely gorgeous woman? Check. Refined imperial aura and capital city accent? Check. Has a daughter that the entire imperial court can't stop gossiping about? The infamous princess that everyone calls the wild child. Since absolutely nobody knows who the father actually is, it took Zhang Wei all of 3 seconds to put 2 and 2 together. The woman currently sitting in my interrogation chair was none other than the literal empress of the entire nation. And that infamous baby daddy, the absolute ghost that the whole capital has been gossiping about. For years? Yeah, that's me. I'm the mystery father. I accidentally knocked up the empress and had a princess. Zhang Wei immediately tried to drop into a full-on imperial kowtow, but the empress shot him a lethal death glare that screamed, "Do not blow my cover right now." And the poor guy just froze mid-bow like someone hit the pause button. He was just kneeling there, brain completely melting, thinking, so the absolute legend who pulled the empress, the massive scandal, that's been rocking the entire imperial court for literally years, the faceless father, that every single high noble in the capital is dying to track down, is my casual buddy, the local county magistrate, the exact same guy who just invited me out to the bathhouse. Yeah, welcome to my world, Zhang Wei. Buckle up, because it honestly only gets weirder from here. Zhang Wei was still completely frozen mid-kneel like a lagging video player. The empress gave him this subtle, tiny hand wave. That basically meant, if you ruin my disguise, I will literally end you. And the man understood the assignment instantly. When I walked over to help him back up, he hit me with the absolute lamest excuse in human history. Oh, my legs are just super tired from riding on horseback all night. Haha. Oh yeah, sure buddy. Your legs just happened to give out at the exact millisecond. You caught a glimpse of my baby mama's face. Total coincidence. I immediately turned to my security team. Start talking. Now. Neo Daejin stuttered through the entire sequence of events. The blatant bribery, the highly suspicious questions, the swift arrest. And honestly, they actually did their jobs perfectly. If some random stranger rolled into town throwing gold around and digging into my classified military secrets, I'd lock them up without a second thought, too. But even so, they still locked up my family. So I had to lay down the law right then and there. From this exact moment forward, you will permanently engrave this woman's face into your minds. This is my wife and this is my daughter. You will treat them with the exact same level of absolute respect you show me. Am I understood? Yes, sir. And right on cue, every single person in that room began frantically bowing and apologizing to her, like their actual lives depended on it. Which, let's be real, they totally did. Neo Daejin immediately bows to the madam. Madam Red Plum, I was completely blind and foolish. Please punish me. Bro, an entire high-level security team is on their knees, straight up begging for mercy, from the exact same woman they were interrogating as a spy. Literally 20 minutes ago. But then came the moment that absolutely broke me. Little Juan, hearing everyone call me her dad, instantly stopped crying and lifted her tiny head. Those massive eyes, still overflowing with tears, looked straight up at me. Daddy? Did you really come to save Wanwan? I swear to you, something inside my chest straight up shattered. I'm so incredibly sorry, baby. I didn't even know you existed. I had no idea you were coming. Please. Just give Daddy one chance to make everything right. She quickly glanced at her mom for approval, and the mom gave the faintest little nod. And just like that, this precious little angel opened her arms and launched herself straight at me. The absolute second I held her, I felt it. That deep, undeniable blood connection. This was my kid. No DNA test needed, 0 questions asked. I mean, she literally looked like a mini-me. Same exact face, just a pocket-sized version. I cradled her like she was made of fragile glass, terrified that I'd squeeze her too tight, but even more terrified of ever letting go. Daddy, Juan Juan. Wanwan missed you so much. I have so many secrets to tell you. She was practically vibrating with excitement in my arms, the tears still drying on her chubby little cheeks. Then, she planted the absolute loudest, wettest kiss right on my cheek. Mwah! And she squealed. I don't have to talk to the painting anymore. I finally have a real daddy now. Bro, she had been pouring her heart out to a painting of me. For years. I am officially never emotionally recovering from this. I kissed her forehead, and she smelled like milk, sunshine, and pure, unadulterated happiness. Turning around, I headed for the exit, and reached out to grab her mother's hand, only to get completely and utterly left on read. She completely ghosted past me like I was a ghost. Where is my man? She demanded, cold as ice. She meant Ma Samba, the loyal eunuch they'd been brutalizing next door. Storming into the interrogation room, she found him broken and slumped over the torture bench, completely knocked out. Ma Samba! Wake up! Instantly, his eyes snapped wide open. Turns out, this crafty old fox had been faking it the entire time, just biding his time and eavesdropping through the wall. But the absolute second he locked eyes with me, he lost it. You absolute monster. Do you have any idea what she suffered? For the last 5 years, I fantasized about tracking you down every single day, just so I could tear you limb from limb. Every single humiliation, every tear she cried, and every vicious insult she had to endure. I swore I'd make you pay for it 100 times over. And damn, this old man wasn't bluffing. He literally wanted to end my life right then and there. He had raised her since she was a little girl, loving her like his own flesh and blood. And then some random, nobody dude knocks her up and completely vanishes. So yeah, in his eyes, I am the ultimate villain. And honestly, he's entirely right. She quickly de-escalated him. He didn't know. Masambao. Drop it. I looked at her just standing there. So calm, so icy and so detached, acting like none of this fazed her. But I could see right through the mask. The soul-crushing pressure she must have faced, raising a child completely alone as an unwed mother, in a brutal society that treats that like the ultimate taboo and disgrace. Her own family probably treated her like trash, yet she carried that entire heavy burden alone. For 5 long years, she protected my daughter, kept her safe, and showered her with unconditional love. And she never once tried to track me down, not until the poor kid begged her for a father. Locking eyes with Ma Sanbao, I delivered the most dead-serious vow of my entire life. Ma Sanbao, every shred of responsibility that I owe, I take it. Every ounce of suffering they went through because of me, I swear on my very life I will make it right. And if I ever break this oath, may I suffer the most brutal, agonizing death possible. He just stared back, glaring daggers, asking if I'm even worthy of her. So I looked him dead in the eye, and meant every single word. If one person dares to drag her name, I'll end them. If 100 people talk down on her, I'll paint the town red with all 100. And if the entire world decides to stand against her, then I will tear down the entire world. Sure, right now I'm just some low-ranking local magistrate, but for my woman and my little girl, I will straight up burn this whole planet to ashes. I'll take on absolutely anyone. I don't give a damn. The entire room instantly went stone-cold silent. Zhang Wei, who knows exactly what kind of monster I am, and that I'd easily back up that threat, just gave a slow, quiet nod. Masamba completely shut his mouth. He absolutely despised me, but even he couldn't deny that was pure alpha energy. And as for her, my absolute ice queen, for just a fraction of a second, something vulnerable flickered behind that freezing glare. Something warm, something totally real. But in a flash, it was gone, locked right back behind her cold imperial mask. Don't flatter yourself, she spat coldly. I only brought the kid so she'd know her father actually exists. That's it. I don't need a single thing from you. I am not your wife. We just happened to make a baby together. Nothing more. Or are you planning to force me into something again? Ouch. She really thinks I took advantage of her that night, when she was the one poisoned out of her mind, and I was just trying to save her life. But whatever, I'll take the blame. 5 long years of her suffering alone definitely gives her the right to be as brutal as she wants. I just flashed a gentle smile and said, I'd never force you into anything, but your future? Yeah, I'm making that my absolute business. Whether you like it or not. Smooth, right? Okay, maybe not really, but it was pure facts. And honestly, facts are all I've got to work with right now. Well, that and heavy artillery. Lots and lots of massive cannons. Bro, I have a daughter. I actually have a daughter. I literally have a daughter. I couldn't stop geeking out. I literally grabbed every single person I saw. On my way out of the high-security base, shoving the ultrasound picture right into their faces. Yo, old Chow, look, that's my daughter. Isn't she the cutest thing ever? She literally got all her looks from me. Red lady, check it out, my daughter. I'm officially a dad now, let's go. Baby, ha ha ha. Yo, Eagle Eye, actually wait, back up. Get away from her. You're way too ugly, man. You're gonna give her nightmares. Eagle Eye just awkwardly scratched his mohawk. Wait, hold the phone. Since when does the boss have a secret family? Old Chow, the secretary, was literally pulling his beard out from stress. Wait, so that woman, the one who filed a missing husband report this morning, is actually our new boss lady? Yeah, my own squad processed my baby mama's paperwork, and then locked her up as a foreign spy on the exact same day. Peak efficiency. Team, truly proud of you all. But as for Red Lady, she was absolutely not celebrating. She marched straight up to Zhao Jinshao, and went full protective alpha wolf. I can sense it. You're not here with pure intentions. He is the pillar of Beilong, the hope of every single person here. If you dare hurt him, even if he hates me forever, I will end you, an eye for an eye. And my girl didn't even flinch. How touching. Too bad he doesn't see you that way at all. Red Lady's chest was heaving with pure rage, her hand twitching toward the hilt of her saber. So we have 2 lethal women having a polite, yet absolutely murderous conversation in my courtyard, while I was inside feeding my little girl sweets, completely oblivious. Just a normal Tuesday, right? Meanwhile, inside, I was in absolute heaven. I laid out every premium snack I owned. Candied pastries, sugar crisps, gourmet treats, that you literally could not find anywhere else on the planet. Mainly because I invented the recipes myself. Daddy, this is so incredibly yummy. Wan Wan's cheeks were puffed out like a little chipmunk, her eyes squeezed shut with pure joy. Honestly, I could have watched her eat for the rest of my life. Hey baby, what's your last name? Shao. What's your mommy's name? Mommy says I'm not allowed to tell anyone. Not even Daddy. Mommy said if I spill the secret, she won't love me anymore and she'll spank my butt. She actually reached right back and covered her little backside, super protectively. But then Xiao Jinshao walked in, and Huang Huang completely panicked, slapping both hands right over her own face. Mommy, I definitely didn't tell Daddy that your name is Jinsha. I promise I didn't. I turned to her mother with the biggest, smirkiest grin. Xiao Jinsha. What a beautiful name. The reeds grow tall, the white dew turns to frost, and the one I long for stands just beyond the water. So I hit her with some top-tier classical poetry. Smooth? Honestly, I thought I nailed it. She just raised an eyebrow, which, given her usual icy vibe, is basically the equivalent of a standing ovation. Then she gave one a quick, gentle little swat. I literally told you to stay quiet, Daddy. Mommy's hitting me. I scooped that kid up in a flash. Wan peeked through her tiny fingers, right at her mom, wearing the absolute smuggest face a 4-year-old could muster. It was pure. I have a literal bodyguard now. Energy. But here's a wild detail I didn't know. Her real name is Xiao Jinshao. But after she claimed the Empress throne, she rebranded herself as Xiao Ling Xiao, mostly because Jin Xiao just didn't sound terrifying enough. That way, absolutely no one in the capital would connect the dots. Yep, my toddler just leaked classified imperial secrets. All for a piece of candy. Meanwhile, Xiao Jinshao scanned my room. It was dead simple. Just one huge bed. And a single desk completely buried under paperwork. No luxury whatsoever. But hanging on the wall was the portrait I'd painted of her from memory. 5 years ago. The exact same one I stare at every night like a pathetic, lovesick fool. She asks, "Aren't you worried? That woman of yours outside will be upset seeing that painting." My woman? You mean the red lady? She is absolutely not my woman, I swear. 5 years ago, I met you, and my heart has been completely taken ever since. I've literally been single this entire time. And now that I have you and Wan back, there is zero chance I'm ever looking at anyone else. For a split second, she actually wavered. I saw it, a tiny microscopic crack in her icy wall. But she immediately shut it down and sealed it back up. There is nothing going on between us. I only brought the child so she'd know her father. In a few days we're leaving, and I won't interfere with your life. Go find your own happiness. But what if my happiness? I started to ask, but she instantly cut me off. Impossible. Look, just stay here tonight. There's plenty of room. But she just turned. Xiao Huang. We're leaving right now. But she whined. I don't wanna. I wanna stay here with Daddy. Hearing this, an absolute death glare locked onto us. If you don't come right now, I'm going to spank you so hard. Okay. One more threat and I'm definitely stepping in. As her father, Xiao Huang. Get over here right now or I swear you'll have a dad. But absolutely no mommy. And honestly, it worked. Wan reluctantly let go of me. But then, and this is exactly why she's my daughter, the little genius pulled the ultimate pro-gamer move. Okay, Daddy, I'll go with her. But Mommy never said you couldn't just follow us. She turned to me with those massive puppy dog eyes. Come find me at the Fuan Inn tomorrow morning. Okay? Make sure you come early. Xiao Wang. Stop talking, her mother snapped, dragging her away completely fuming. I tried to follow them but got hit with a lethal. If you take one step, I guarantee you will never see either of us again. So I just stood there, watching them vanish. Around the corner, my daughter literally sold out her mom's secret hotel location for a piece of candy, leaked her classified alias during a high-stakes briefing, and completely played both of us against each other. Like a pint-sized political mastermind. She definitely gets the devious scheming from her mother, but that effortless charm? Oh, that's all me. The world is genuinely not ready for this child. The exact second they were out of sight, I flipped the switch into full operational warlord mode. Without even turning around, I commanded Red Lady, tell Li Yusu to deploy 24-hour shadow protection on both of them. If a single hair on their heads gets touched, someone pays. Lock down every single in surrounding the Fuyuan area. I mean every single one. Clear out the entire neighborhood. Red Lady went dead silent for a brief second, before responding, Yes, my lord. Oh, and Red Lady? Starting today, your boss is officially back in the trenches, courting his wife. This is now a military-grade tactical operation. Full faction resources. Absolutely zero budget limit. Look, I've built unbreachable fortresses.
I've engineered devastating cannons.
I've crushed an army of 100,000 barbarians before lunch. But winning over one ice-cold, sharp-tongued woman, who already has my child. Yeah, this might genuinely be the hardest campaign of my entire life. But I'm going all in. That night, sleep was a total myth. And it wasn't because of some brutal barbarian battle, or a stressful hostage crisis, or any of that usual nonsense. It was because I have a daughter now, and she's currently sleeping in some random inn instead of my mansion. The sheer thought of it was driving me absolutely insane. So, I dragged myself up at the absolute crack of dawn and started cooking breakfast, whipping up my absolute best signature dishes entirely from scratch. I'm literally a military tech genius who modernized gunpowder. But somehow my absolute highest stakes mission this morning was baking the ultimate, most flawless sugar pastries. For a 4-year-old, I knocked on Xiao Jinxia's door, holding a massive food carrier and grinning like an absolute idiot. When she opened the door, she looked like a literal goddess who just woke up, which honestly felt like a personal attack on my heart rate. She immediately went, "You really didn't have to do this." But I replied, "Street food is way too greasy for her stomach. Besides, I made everything from scratch, so you better eat too." I had to fight for my life not to stare at her figure. Seriously, I was struggling. Next, I walked over to the bed, only to find my daughter completely passed out like a starfish. Arms and legs everywhere, mouth wide open, Zero dignity whatsoever. Yep, she's definitely got my genes. Rise and shine, little piggy, I teased. Get up, or the sun's gonna burn your butt. Her eyelashes fluttered, but she refused to open her eyes. Fine. I guess I'll just eat these delicious sugar crisps. But hey, if you don't wake up right now, I'm devouring the whole plate. Her eyes instantly snapped open, and she snatched my hand. No way, those are mine. You're a whole adult. You can't just steal a kid's food. I gently booped her nose. Then stop fake sleeping. I'd actually stayed up half the night, bribing a master tailor to craft her a custom outfit. And when she finally put it on, she looked like a precious, high-end porcelain doll. I was completely mesmerized. Then I pulled out a hair comb. I had literally crashed someone's house at midnight, and practically begged them to teach me how to braid a little girl's hair. Xiao Jinxia raised a skeptical eyebrow. And just how many girls' hair have you braided before? 0. I literally learned this last night. Can't you tell? She stood there watching me fumble with Wan's tiny, silky hair like I was trying to defuse a live bomb. And honestly, I think she finally realized that I wasn't some smooth player. Which is great because I am the exact opposite of smooth. I'm a guy who designs literal heavy artillery, but is completely defeated by a basic hair tie. But while I was struggling, Xiao Jinxia had this look on her face, just for a split second. She was watching the two of us, and her expression completely softened, like she was letting herself feel something she'd been desperately trying to suppress. And trust me, I know that look. Yep, that's the classic "maybe this isn't so bad" expression. More like the "what if I'm slowly winning this" look. Playing the long game, my absolute specialty. Right after breakfast, I was like, let's roll, guys. Time for a grand tour of the city. But then the red lady spawned out of nowhere with my itinerary, and completely crushed my dreams. Sir, you've got 100 merchant caravans pulling up this morning, an education reform summit this afternoon, and a military debriefing tonight. Tomorrow is the big prisoner trial and the award ceremony. Oh, and also, the Great Scenery Empire is sending Princess Chongning, while the Great Xia Empire is dispatching Princess Yongla. Both are touching down for the international conference. And remember, you explicitly stated that failure is absolutely not an option for this event. She kept throwing side eyes at Zhao Jinsha the entire time. Subtle. Yeah, super subtle. About as subtle as a literal cannon blast. Now, here's the hilarious part one didn't realize. While I was just hearing a packed, miserable schedule, Xiao Jinshao was hearing straight-up treason. Absolute, undeniable treason. Foreign princesses flocking to my territory? In her mind, this was a full-blown enemy delegation. To her, this was the ultimate proof that I was actively plotting with hostile empires. But give her credit, she played it perfectly, putting on this beautifully shocked act. Foreign princesses coming here? You do realize that colluding with enemy nations comes with a mandatory death sentence for your entire extended bloodline, right? I just waved her off like she was asking about the daily weather forecast. Relax, it's just business. I'm just securing that sweet foreign bag. Beilong is broke, man. We desperately need trade partners. Besides, they wouldn't dare leak a single thing. And if the Empress tries to start beef over it, I'll handle her. Except I actually said, if that dog Emperor tries anything, I'll make her deeply regret it. Yup, talking mad trash about the Empress, calling her a dog, straight to her face. I could literally see the steam radiating from Xiao Jinshao's ears, but somehow, she managed to keep her cool. The woman possesses an ironclad poker face. Honestly, she was probably fantasizing about 13 brutal ways to end my life right then and there. Just then, Xiao the secretary burst into the room with even more news. Sir, the high and mighty delegations from Xia and Scenery flexed by rolling up 2 full days early. And to make matters worse, Prince Duan's bratty son is tag-teaming with them. Like, that little punk seriously couldn't wait? Did these guys literally group chat this ahead of time? Alright, let me lay out the situation with Prince Duan. This guy is literal imperial royalty. But behind closed doors, he and his son have been my low-key business partners for actual years. Total legends, honestly. Absolute MVPs for pulling strings and moving black market goods through official channels. So I casually mentioned to Xiao Jinsha like, oh yeah, Prince Duan's family and I are basically besties. I'll totally hook you up with an introduction once his kid gets here. The exact moment I said that, she went completely frozen. What I completely failed to realize because I apparently possess zero situational awareness about anything. Actually important is that Prince Duan is literally her birth uncle. As in, her father's actual brother. The literal mastermind who helped her hijack the throne during the bloody coup. We are talking about her number one, ride-or-die ally in the entire imperial bloodline. And I just casually leaked to her that he's been running a secret illegal operation with me. Me, the public enemy number one. The ultimate traitor. The exact guy she is actively plotting to throw in chains. So now, her trusted uncle is my corporate partner. Her fiercest border general is my ride-or-die sworn brother. And her own literal daughter sold out her top-secret alias for a piece of candy. Imagine the absolute brain rot happening inside her head right now. My own uncle is a backstabbing fraud. The literal man who handed me the crown is secretly scheming with this. This corrupt government dog who literally called me a dog to my face. Is there a single person in my entire empire who isn't plotting my downfall? Meanwhile, there's me, just low-key pissed that my wholesome daddy-daughter day got totally ruined by annoying political diplomacy. Hey, priorities, people. I'd say mine are perfectly calibrated. Anyway, the massive international summit was officially kicking off, and every single VIP showed up way ahead of schedule. Mainly because, apparently, nobody in this ancient fantasy world has ever heard of a basic RSVP. I pulled up to the grand welcome hall in my tricked-out carriage, flanked by 100 heavily armed soldiers, because your boy didn't raise a fool. Pro tip: you never step into a room packed with dangerous foreign dignitaries without looking like you possess the raw firepower to level a whole city. Spoiler alert, I absolutely don't. But the second I stepped out, absolute main character chaos erupted. Lu Yuan. Big bro, look over here. Princess Chongning of the Great Scenery Empire literally leaped out of her moving royal carriage and started frantically waving at me like a delusional fangirl at a pop concert. Keep in mind, this woman is currently wearing a multi-million-dollar imperial gown. She's rocking a gorgeous phoenix crown, and she is literally bouncing up and down, like a fangirl at a front-row K-pop concert. Let me paint a picture of Chongning for you. Sharp, seductive phoenix eyes, flawless floral makeup, a stunning crimson dress, and let's just say, highly blessed curves. Absolutely gorgeous, but also incredibly loud. Meanwhile, inside the other carriage, Princess Yonghua of Great Xia was watching this entire display and absolutely seething. What a shameless hussy, throwing away her dignity for a man. But then, she practically flew out of her own carriage even faster, swiftly adjusting her assets. Now Yonghua has these sultry, bedroom-ready fox eyes, and a lethal figure that would make a math teacher cry. Her pastel pink dress was performing structural engineering feats. That would honestly put my entire construction bureau to shame. These two are the crown princesses of the two most powerful rival empires on the planet, and they are about to throw hands over yours truly, a lowly county magistrate. And yes, this is happening right in front of hundreds of foreign merchants. Suddenly, Chongning grabs my hand. Big brother, do I look pretty today? I accidentally glanced down at the view, swallowed hard, and immediately yanked my hand back. We are in public. Behave yourself. Yonghua seized the moment and swooped right in. Get your hands off him. Pawing at men in broad daylight? Great Shang royalty truly has zero class. Then, she hit me with an elegant, flawless curtsy. It has been far too long, dearest Lu Yuan. I hope you've been well. This made Chongning absolutely explode. You absolute vixen. Stop playing the classy act. Just because you've got a little extra chest. Big deal. If I push mine together, I'm way bigger. Besides, Lu Yuan doesn't care for shallow girls like you. Bro, she actually said that out loud. In front of hundreds of high-profile international diplomats and global merchants, a literal crown princess just screamed about cup sizes at a massive trade summit. Welcome to my chaotic life. Yonghua immediately clapped back. You flat-chested tomboy, vulgar, savage, absolutely uncultured. And then, they both grabbed one of my arms. Before I knew it, I was sandwiched between premium, princess-grade softness, while they literally tried to tear me apart, dragging me in completely opposite directions. Now look, any normal guy would probably love this, but two gorgeous princesses literally fighting over you? That's peak male fantasy right there. Any other day, I might have played along a little. But today, I heard this icy laugh behind me, and the temperature instantly plunged sub-zero. I felt the hairs on my neck stand up in pure, mortal terror. Zhao Jinsha was standing right there, holding our daughter, watching these two foreign princesses cling to me. like cheap ornaments. I ripped my arms free so fast. I almost dislocated both of my shoulders. Okay. That's enough. Both of you. Look at yourselves, you're royalty. This is a high-level trade summit. Not some shady nightclub. One more stunt like this, and you're officially banned from next year's event. They both pouted. Channing looked totally crushed, while Yongla's seductive act crumbled into pure, unadulterated rage. But I didn't care. My wife was standing right there. Well, okay, not technically my wife, but the mother of my child, who already thinks I'm a treasonous, low-life playboy. These two clout chasers were absolutely destroying my case. Mommy, Huan whispered. Are those two ladies gonna be my new stepmommies? Xiao Jinxia's reply was cold enough to freeze lava. They wish. But oh boy, I could feel her absolute fury. Two princesses from enemy nations, throwing themselves at her baby daddy. The exact guy she already suspects of high treason. The same guy she caught calling her a dog emperor. And now, he's clearly on cozy, intimate terms with the royal families of rival empires. Her mental execution list for me was getting dangerously long. Then, because this day apparently wasn't chaotic enough, some young guy came sprinting across the courtyard, screaming, Master Lu! It was Prince Duan's son, Zhao Ji, my star student, the kid I'd been secretly mentoring for years. He slammed into me with a flying tackle hug that nearly flattened me. Master, I missed you so much. Hey kid, you're a grown man now. Have some dignity. He just flashed his signature, goofy grin. I smiled back, and then boom, a brilliant idea hit me. Time to finally introduce him to my family. I grabbed Zhao Ji's hand, and proudly gestured over to Xiao Jinxia. And Huan, let me introduce you. This is my wife, your Shermu, and this is my daughter, your little Shimi. Xiao Ji looked up, grinning like an idiot until he saw Xiao Jinxia's face. That smile evaporated faster than water on a scorching hot skillet. His legs instantly turned to jelly. He slammed to his knees like a puppet with its strings cut. And why? Because Xiao Ji, Prince Duan's actual son, just realized his beloved Master Lu's wife is literally his cousin, the Empress, the supreme ruler of the entire nation, the absolute powerhouse his own father helped put on the throne. And his teacher just casually introduced her as your Shermu, aka his master's wife. The poor kid just knelt there, having a massive existential crisis on the spot, while I stood there completely clueless, thinking, why does everyone keep falling to their knees around my wife? Is she really that gorgeous? I mean, yeah, obviously, but come on. First Zhang Wei, now Xiao Ji? At this rate, I swear, I'm gonna have to buy knee pads in bulk for literally anyone who meets this woman. I still don't get what's going on, but a tiny, sneaking suspicion is starting to creep in that Xiao Jinxia might be slightly more important than she's letting on. Just a crazy thought, though. Probably nothing. Meanwhile, Xiao Ji stared at Xiao Jinxia, and his soul literally left his body. He was trembling on the floor, stammering out MP, but I just thought he was trying to show some serious respect to his new Shermu. Honestly, what a sweet kid. So polite. Here, take this red envelope your Shermu prepared for you. I literally shoved the gift packet into his shaking hands. The poor kid looked like he was about to burst into tears. But little did I know, he wasn't crying tears of joy over getting a Shermu. He was absolutely petrified because his new Shermu is his cousin, the freaking Empress. And I had just casually demoted the ruler of the entire empire to your master's wife. To her credit, Xiao Jinxia played along flawlessly. She helped him up, gave him a sweet smile, and whispered something in his ear. Judging by how pale his face got, I'm guessing she said something like, breathe a word of who I am, and I will end you. Zhao Ji nodded so fast he almost caught whiplash. Thanks for the fat stack of cash, Shermu. Smart move, kid secured the bag and his life. But this is where the entire day absolutely derailed. Both princesses spotted Xiao Jinxia and Huang, and completely lost their minds. Chongning was furious. Lu Yuan, who are they? You better start talking. Meanwhile, Yongla was looking Xiao Jinxia up and down with pure, unadulterated disgust. Are you seriously that desperate to play stepdad to some widow's kid? If you're lonely, you could have just come to me. The crowd immediately started gossiping. Everyone knew I was single, and these massive empires had dug into my background, deep enough to know my shoe size, so their only logical theory was that I had adopted some random Single mom because I was starved for affection. The consensus? Damn. Lu Yuan isn't into young girls. He likes them experienced. Dude is wild. I was literally dying inside as Chongning went nuclear. If you wanted a woman, I was right here. Why settle for some washed-up hag? Yongla, not to be outdone, puffed out her chest to show off her assets. Choose me instead. I'm clearly the better option. Yes, you're seeing this right. Two royal crown princesses were publicly throwing hands over who had the hotter body, right in front of a massive crowd. Peak international diplomacy. But behind me, I could literally feel Xiao Jianxia's murderous aura, radiating like a nuclear reactor. Even my daughter was watching. Two high society princesses brawl over her dad, practically eating popcorn. Then, Chongning decided to pull her ultimate trump card. Song Yan read my father's imperial decree. With that, the great scenery empire's chief diplomat stepped forward and dramatically unfurled a gold-trimmed scroll. The entire courtyard fell dead silent. By order of His Majesty, the Emperor of Great Scenery, we hereby bestow upon Lu Yuan the prestigious title of Marquis of Beilong, an ancestral, hereditary title with a tax revenue of 2,000 households, the purple gold crown, the goldfish badge, the exclusive right to ride a 5-horse chariot, the privilege to carry a sword in the imperial court, complete exemption from bowing to princes, and the legendary golden immunity plaque. Yes, the literal get-out-of-death-row-free card. The crowd gasped in absolute shock. A 2,000 household income is Duke-level wealth, and they're giving it to a marquis? A 5-horse chariot is just 1 horse shy of the emperor's own ride. And an immunity plaque? Those things are mythical. Most people will never lay eyes on one. But here's the real kicker. The emperor orders Princess Chongning to be married off to Lu Yuan. Plus, Lu Yuan is officially promoted to Grand General of the Northern Campaign, handing him absolute military control over the entire northern frontier. Translation: keep your city, keep your massive army, we won't force you to bow at court. Instead, take our princess, a top-tier generalship, and basically half the empire's northern border. Just please be on our side. The Xining merchants were losing their minds. If I accepted, they'd get exclusive rights to all my tech and insane trade deals. Meanwhile, Yongla's face went pale, then flushed red, and she completely snapped. A marquis? That's the best Xining can do? How incredibly cheap. Then it was Great Xia's turn. An old eunuch stepped forward. And we're not talking about just anyone, this was Wang De, the Great Xia Emperor's right-hand man, the legendary inner chancellor himself. Showing up in person meant Great Xia was playing for keeps. Wang De unrolled his imperial scroll and dropped an absolute tactical nuke. His Imperial Majesty of Great Xia hereby crowns Lu Yuan as the King of Beilong. The entire courtyard went so dead silent you could hear heartbeats. A king, not a marquis, not even a duke, a straight-up king.
Permanent, héréditary dominion over Bélon.
Absolute autonomous governance, complete military sovereignty, and to top it off, Princess Yongla would officially become Lu Yuan's wife, going from a lowly county magistrate to a literal king with a royal bride. Unchecked, sovereign authority over my entire territory. Basically everything I already owned, but now it was fully legalized with a royal title slapped on it. The crowd was having a collective stroke. Every single merchant, diplomat, and soldier standing in that courtyard was staring blankly at those two scrolls, like they were looking at the Holy Grail, multiplied by 2. Zhao Ji grabbed my sleeve, sweating bullets. Master, don't do it. It's a total trap. They're plotting something sinister. He then shot a desperate, pleading look at Zhao Jinsha, his secret undercover empress cousin. Like, do something already. They are literally stealing your man. And for the first time since she got here, Zhao Jinsha looked absolutely genuinely terrified. Not angry, not cold and distant, just straight up scared because she did the math. If I accept either of these insane offers, I am completely out of her empire. If Bailong switches sides. And remember, Bailong is a fortress packed with cannons and rifles, 1 million citizens and an elite army that literally deleted half the barbarian horde. Right before breakfast, that military powerhouse would become her worst enemy's trump card. Her empire would be completely cooked, and she couldn't offer me a single thing, even close to what they were putting on the table. Like, look at the facts. She can't marry me, even though she's secretly carrying my child, because the entire royal court would treat it as a massive scandal. She can't hand me a kingdom of my own. I'd still have to bow down to her authority. And she was literally just plotting to have me arrested. Now, look at these two legendary scrolls on the ground. And these two stunning princesses batting their eyelashes at me. A literal kingship on one side, a marquee title on the other. 2 get-out-of-jail-free cards, 2 top-tier general commissions, 2 royal weddings. All I had to do was make my choice. I stared down at the scrolls, then back up at the princesses, rubbed my hands together, and let out a hmm. Now, which one of these should I go with? The massive delegation from Dakian, Zhao Jinsha's empire, my supposed home turf, watched me with sheer, desperate panic in their eyes. Zhao Jinsha completely froze, holding her breath. Even little Huang Huang stopped eating her candy. I slowly reached my hand out and declared, I choose. And of course, that's where the chapter cuts to black. I am literally the one living this story, and even I'm dying to know what happens next. Seriously, the entire courtyard was dead silent. You could literally hear a pin drop. Hundreds of wealthy merchants, 2 gorgeous princesses, 2 imperial delegations, my secret empress, / baby mama, and my absolutely terrified disciple, all had their eyes locked onto me, like I was about to decide the fate of the entire world. Which honestly, I kind of was. Suddenly, Zhao Ji threw himself onto the dirt, crying, Master, are you seriously going to abandon us like this? To completely abandon Daiqian. The Daiqian merchants instantly dropped to their knees, begging behind Lord Lu. Please, you have to reconsider. Meanwhile, Zhao Ji, this desperate, tear-stained kid, frantically turned to Zhao Jinsha for help. Please talk to him. The other Daiqian merchants joined the chorus. Madam, you're a citizen of Daiqian too. You can't just stand by and watch him defect. And finally, our ice queen cracked. Not emotionally, of course, but strategically. She locked eyes with Zhao Ji and spoke, her voice sharp as a razor. Why are you begging me? Doesn't the Daiqian emperor have a backup plan? The Great Jing Empire has princesses. Great Xia has princesses. Does Daiqian not have a single eligible princess of its own? They're offering marquee titles and kingships. Can Daiqian not match those exact terms? She was throwing Zhao Ji, the most aggressive, frantic eye signals in human history, blinking and gesturing, doing everything short of writing. Fake a decree right now on her forehead. But Zhao Ji, bless his incredibly dumb, loyal and honest heart, just couldn't pull it off. He knew the Empress had never even heard of our MC. Before this trip, there was no secret decree, no backup offer, absolutely nothing. If he faked one, the entire web of lies would completely unravel, and the MC would realize the imperial court had known about the White Lotus sect all along, via Prince Duan. So he just stood there sobbing, unable to utter a single word. The Daiqian merchants watched their absolute last hope just blubber silently, and felt their souls completely leave their bodies. No imperial decree, nothing at all. The emperor doesn't even care about a supreme talent like Lord Lu. At the very least, a dukedom should be on the table. Every single word was a direct dagger to the empress's chest. They were basically calling her the literal ruler, a blind, incompetent fool who couldn't recognize god-tier talent. And the worst part? She couldn't even defend herself, without completely blowing her cover. Seeing this, the Jing and Great Xia merchants piled on gleefully. Wow, Daiqian's emperor must have some insanely high standards. If even someone as legendary as Lord Lu isn't good enough. Just come to Great Jing, Lord Lu. We will treat you like a literal god. No, forget her. Come to Great Xia. Whatever scenery she is offering, we will double it. Suddenly, Chunjing grabbed my hand again. Big brother, Dakian doesn't appreciate your genius. I promise I will never let you feel unwanted. Marry me, and I'll secure you a kingship of your own. Not to be outdone, Yongla struck her power pose. Empty promises from a bankrupt empire. Only Great Xia can give you the throne you truly deserve. My king. Meanwhile, Ma Sanbao was whispering frantically to Zhao Jinsha. Your Majesty, he isn't actually going to defect, right? Please tell me he's not. And Zhao Jinsha? The Empress, the absolute ruler, the ruthless woman who conquered a throne, was just standing there in absolute agony. For one terrifying second, she actually considered blowing her own cover, stepping forward and shouting, I am the Emperor of Dakian. But she couldn't, because in her mind, I was already a rebel. If she revealed her true identity, I might just take her hostage on the spot, use her as a shield, seize the imperial power, and control the lords, a classic warlord power play. She was completely trapped, totally paralyzed by her own paranoia, her deep suspicions, and the fact that her most trusted uncle had been secretly colluding with me for years. She was thinking, I should never have come to Beilong. I should have stayed in the palace. Even if an assassin slit my throat in my sleep, at least I wouldn't have to watch my empire fall apart like this. Honestly, my heart was breaking for my Dacian people. These merchants and poor Zhao Ji, they genuinely believed I was going to abandon them. The sheer desperation in their eyes was painfully real. So, I let out a heavy sigh, yanked my hands free from both princesses once again, grabbed Zhao Ji by the collar and hauled him to his feet. What did I teach you? Real men do not kneel. You kneel to the heavens, you kneel to the earth, and you kneel to your parents. That's it. Look at you, sniveling and crying like a baby. Is this who I raised? Do you seriously think your master is the kind of sellout who would betray his own country just for some flashy, cheap title? Zhao Ji froze mid-sob. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, a loyal dog doesn't ditch a poor home, and a real son never turns his back on his mother. Yeah, I've got a massive list of complaints about Dacian, but Dacian is my blood. That's a fact no one can ever change. Not for a crown, not for a gorgeous princess, not for anything. Hearing this, the Dacian merchants absolutely lost it, bursting into tears. They were cheering in pure, unadulterated joy. I turned back to the two royal princesses. Ladies, I truly appreciate the insane offers. Send your emperors my most sincere thanks. But honestly, I'm just a simple guy with zero ambition. I have absolutely no desire to climb the social ladder. Just leave me to my own devices, and I'm golden. Then came my absolute favorite part. I swaggered back over to Zhao Jinxia, scooped up little Huang Huang with one arm, and held her right up next to my face. Look at this. See her? This is my daughter. Are we a carbon copy or what? Zhao Jin's brain finally started working. He looked at Huang Huang, then flashed his eyes to me, then back to Zhao Jinxia as he connected every single dot. His eyes went wide as saucers, and he screamed, identical! A literal clone. The Dacian merchants, completely high on patriotic relief, roared back, identical, cut from the exact same mold. And is my daughter cute? I asked. The absolute cutest. Good eye, everyone. I grinned wildly, and then did something incredibly bold. I reached out and firmly grabbed Zhao Jinxia's hand, right in front of the massive crowd. And this is my wife. The OG. The one and only. Now tell me, is she stunning or what? Zhao Jin was fully riding the hype train now. The madam is the most breathtaking woman in the entire world, and every single Dacian merchant echoed, the most beautiful woman in the world. Two high and mighty princesses had just been publicly rejected. For a woman they were literally trash-talking as a widow with a kid. Just 5 minutes ago, the look on their faces, absolutely priceless. Meanwhile, Zhao Jinxia was just staring at me in shock. My hand felt warm and secure around hers. I had just turned down an entire kingship, 2 royal brides, and unlimited wealth and power. Instead, I chose to stay in the very country she rules, the same country she thought I was about to betray. And on top of that, I stood proudly in front of hundreds of people, and loudly proclaimed to the world that she was my wife. For the very first time since she had arrived in Beilong, her icy composure completely cracked. It wasn't anger, and it wasn't suspicion. It was something much softer, something incredibly warm. And she didn't pull her hand away. And right then, trapped in a total madhouse of screaming merchants, sobbing students, and absolutely furious princesses, I looked down to see our daughter, happily clapping with candy crumbs all over her face. But then, I catch a spark in her eyes that I hadn't seen in 5 long years. Pure hope. All right, everyone who thinks my daughter is adorable gets an extra chicken leg at dinner tonight. I yell out, tightly squeezing Zhao Jinxia's cold little hand. Honestly, I feel like a man who just hit the mega jackpot. Which, let's be real, I totally did. Screw being a king. I'm finally holding her hand out in public. 5 years of non-stop dreaming. And it's actually happening. Ma Sanbao finally lets out a breath he's been holding. And I can practically hear his chaotic inner monologue. Lucky day for you, scumbag. Otherwise I would have slit your throat right here. Meanwhile, Great Xi's top diplomat, Zhang Sanyan, is absolutely fuming. Lu Yuan, Are you seriously going to reject the Great Xi Empire? I just stare at him like he's the dumbest guy in the room. Did your precious emperor care about my feelings? When he drafted that decree, did he ever ask if I even wanted to marry his daughter? Nope. So why on earth should I care? Hearing this, the Daiqian merchants go absolutely wild. Clapping, cheering, and pledging their ultimate loyalty. Shouts erupt from everywhere. The Tianyuan Trade Guild rides with Lord Lu. From this day on, the Four Seas Guild is with you too. Count in the World Commerce Guild. Just like that, literally everyone is begging to join my squad. These Daiqian merchants, who were literally sobbing in utter despair just 5 minutes ago, are now aggressively chest-bumping each other, like they just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. Meanwhile, Zhang Songyan's face turns an impressive shade of angry purple. Fine, just don't come crawling back to us when it all blows up. Oh, buddy. You did not just threaten me in my own city, right where I keep all my cannons. I am definitely remembering this disrespect. One day, I'm marching an entire army straight to your capital. Bookmark it. But right then, the old eunuch Wang De, who is basically Great Xia's inner chancellor, meaning he is easily the second most powerful man in the entire empire, does something that completely shocks the room. He actually smiles. He looks at Zhang Songyan like he's absolute garbage and says, unlike some pathetic empires, Great Xia doesn't need to resort to petty little threats. Lord Lu's fierce loyalty to his homeland is truly admirable. After all, a man who doesn't love his own country isn't worth a single shred of respect. But then he literally drops to the floor. We're talking a full-on forehead-to-the-ground prostration. The ultimate 5-point bow. Instantly, the entire courtyard goes dead silent. This legendary figure only bows to one man, the Xia Emperor himself. That's it. And yet, he just did it for me. A mere county magistrate, right in front of hundreds of witnesses. Every single Daiqian present instantly stood a little taller. Like, yeah, that's our boy's absolute massive value. Enemy empires are literally groveling at his feet. Meanwhile, Zhang Sunyang looked like he just swallowed a lemon, stuffed with rusty nails. I helped Wanda up with a smug smile. Go back and tell Emperor Beilong that I look forward to deeper cooperation with the Great Xia. Notice the phrasing. Not allegiance, not marriage. Just straight business entirely on my terms. Wanda caught the vibe perfectly, and he was absolutely thrilled, because even a maybe from a powerhouse like me was worth more than gold. Take it or leave it, Yongla sneered at Chongning. See that? That's what real boss diplomacy looks like. Chongyun, I will literally slice those things right off your chest. And feed them straight to your dogs. Man, these royal princesses, international relations really are wild. Huh? I quickly ushered everyone toward the guest house. Before actual bloody violence could break out. Alright, everybody settle in. Dinner's on me tonight, and my staff will take care of your every need for the next 2 days. But of course, both princesses tried to follow me back to my place. Chongning whined. Can I please come with you? While Yongla offered. Let me give you a shoulder massage. Right then, I felt Xiao Jinxia's fingernails dig straight into my palm, like sharp little daggers. Oh hell no. Too busy. Gotta go, bye. I grabbed Xiao Ji straight by the collar, and dragged him backward toward my carriage, before either of those crazy princesses could latch onto me again. Once inside the carriage, things got incredibly tense. Xiao Jinxia was sitting directly across from me, glaring with an ice-cold expression before she said, Just how long do you plan on holding my hand? My face instantly flushed bright red. Your hands are freezing. I'm just warming them up. She snapped back. Let go. Okay. Okay. I released her hand like a sad puppy forced to drop its favorite toy. The entire carriage plunged into an incredibly awkward silence, with everyone just staring at each other uncomfortably. But then, Huang, my sweet little angel, my little traitor of a daughter leaned in and whispered, Daddy, Mommy is just being super shy. Next time, make sure to hold her hand. When there aren't so many people watching. Xiao Huang, what are you even saying? But Huang just buried her face right into my chest, muffling her voice as she added, When Daddy held Mommy's hand, she literally smiled like 3 whole times. That's it, you're disowned. I'm pretending I never gave birth to you. Staring at Xiao Jinxia's furious, blushing face, my brain completely short-circuited all over again. Wow. You're stunning even when you're mad. Those 2 princesses don't even hold a candle to your pinky toe. Her face instantly went from light pink to straight-up crimson. Say something that cringe again and I'm leaving right now. I immediately slapped my hand over my mouth, then slammed my other hand right over Wan's mouth. And there we sat, father and daughter completely muzzled, looking absolutely pathetic. That's when Xiao Ji made the ultimate mistake of laughing. With just one deadly glare from Xiao Jinxia, his face went from pure joy to a straight-up funeral vibe so fast. He honestly might have pulled a facial muscle. The poor kid literally had to mentally replay every single tragic memory of his entire life, just to force himself to stop grinning. Humph! Finally satisfied, Xiao Jinxia turned her head toward the window. What she didn't realize was that her earlobes, her neck, and even the back of her ears were totally flushed pink. Man, my daughter really sees through everything. She was totally right. Her mommy wasn't actually mad. She was just incredibly flustered. Oh yeah, I am making massive progress here. Right after lunch, I got Zhao Ji all settled in. Since he's basically part of the family now, he's crashing at my place. But then I had to immediately sprint off to work. All because those early arriving foreign delegations had completely trashed my entire schedule. The trial and the big award ceremony got pushed back to tomorrow. Now that my wife and daughter were out in the open and publicly known, there was no way I was letting them stay in some random, sketchy inn. So, I had them move straight into my own compound, way safer, way closer, and bonus, I'd actually get to tuck Huang in before bed, which honestly was the real motivation. Anyway, I headed out to take care of business, leaving Zhao Jinxia and a fast-asleep Huang back at the house. But the exact second I stepped foot outside, Zhao Jinxia instantly summoned Zhao Ji out to the garden pavilion. She sat him down, poured him a fresh cup of tea, and spoke with all the sheer gentleness of a dropping guillotine. Start talking. Tell me absolutely everything. Man, poor Xiao Ji, our boy, was about to get absolutely grilled by the Empress herself. Not as his favorite cousin, not as family, but as the supreme ruler of the nation, demanding real answers about why her own uncle had been secretly allied with a notorious rebel for years. Meanwhile, I was across town reviewing boring trade permits, completely clueless that my own student was about to spill every single high-stakes secret I'd ever trusted him with. Look, being a total genius with heavy artillery is great, but navigating high-society women and cutthroat politics? Yeah, I'm still heavily working on that part. So while I was stuck across town drowning in paperwork, because apparently running a massive metropolis of 1 million people, hosting massive international trade summits, and trying to romance the absolute love of my life, simultaneously requires actual grueling labor. Insane things were unfolding right at my mansion that I had absolutely zero clue about. I only found out later what actually went down and honestly connects all the dots. The exact second I left, Zhao Jinxia cornered Zhao Ji in my garden pavilion and straight up transformed into a human lie detector. Zhao Ji hit the deck immediately, terrified. Big sis, I mean, Your Majesty, I'm so sorry. Stand up, she commanded. Someone might see. I literally can't. My legs are paralyzed. It's a cramp. Definitely a massive cramp. Get up right now, or you'll never walk again. Boom. He scrambled to his feet in 0.2 seconds flat. Oh wow. A literal medical miracle. This kid. I taught him master-level military strategy and advanced economics. But teaching him backbone? Yeah, that's still a work in progress. Although what happened next completely proved me wrong. She relentlessly grilled him on everything. How we met, what secret operations we run together, and why we kept it under wraps. And Zhao Ji, to his absolute credit, laid out the whole truth. For years ago, his father came down to inspect the frozen northern border, and discovered me out here managing a tiny, starving population. I desperately needed supplies, and his dad desperately needed cash. So we struck a legendary deal. I supply him with premium luxury goods, the absolute finest tea, pure refined salt, and pristine white sugar, and he keeps his mouth shut about Balian. Now, here is the exact plot twist that apparently completely shattered Zhao Jinxia's reality. Those ultra-premium goods I'd been laundering, every single cent went straight into funding the imperial government. That premium refined salt in the royal kitchens? Mine. The high-grade sugar the court officials feast on? Also mine. Even the fancy tea the Empress sips every morning? Yep, mine. 4 years ago, after a coup completely wiped out the royal treasury, the empire was so down bad they couldn't even pay their own soldiers. That's when Zhao Ji's father, Prince Duan, pulled up with hundreds of thousands of silver coins. To save the day. And where did he get that bag? From me. Just a local mayor, ruling a swampy backwater county she didn't even know existed. The Empress's entire economic comeback was built entirely on my goods, laundered straight through her uncle's massive trade network. And she had absolutely no clue. But then Zhao Jinsha pressed harder, accusing him of harboring a rebel army, running illegal trades and plotting with foreign powers. And this is the exact moment Zhao Ji finally grew a spine. My boy actually stood his ground against the Empress. This kid, who literally fakes leg cramps and cries over the smallest things, actually fought back, shouting, "Don't you dare call him a rebel." In 200 years of Great Qi history, Bailong County went through a brand new magistrate, practically every single year, because they either ended up dead or kidnapped by barbarians. Nobody wanted this nightmare job, but my teacher came here alone, and single-handedly built the greatest city in the world. The entire world should be bowing down to him. You can call his methods crazy or unconventional, but you cannot call him a traitor. She threatened him, but he didn't even flinch. Even if you snap my legs in half, I'll still tell you exactly what my father told me. The entire future of Great Qi rests on Master Lu's shoulders. 4 years ago, he predicted the entire world would descend into chaos. And every single thing he foresaw is coming true right now. Even if it costs me my life, I will keep him safe. My own student said that the kid I personally raised, the same kid I used to grab by the collar and drag around, was willing to stand up to the Empress, his actual literal cousin, just to protect me. Bro, I'm not crying. There's just some dust in my eye. Yeah, gunpowder dust. Super manly tears here. Zhao Jinsha was visibly shaken. Not because she actually believed his words. She's way too stubborn and proud for that. But because literally everyone she trusts is choosing me over her. Her uncle, her cousin, her top border general, and even her own daughter. One by one, every single member of her inner circle has completely fallen right into my orbit. She's literally the empress of the entire nation. And right now, she's questioning if she's actually just terrible at her job. But honestly, from what I can see, she's not. She just inherited a total train wreck, a completely drained treasury and enemies lurking everywhere. She's been fighting for survival just like me. We're basically the exact same person on different scales, and neither of us even realizes it yet. She immediately told Xiao Ji to shut his mouth, forget they ever even spoke and just play along. Suddenly, footsteps started approaching, and she instantly snapped right back into normal wife mode. And that is exactly when Luo Bing showed up. My personal tailor, an absolute certified knockout. The kind of curves that literally make architecture jealous. She walked right in with that signature hip sway. That could easily cause a massive traffic accident. And gave a polite bow to Zhao Jinsha, saying, "Madam, I'm Luo Bing, the master's personal head seamstress. He specifically asked me to custom make you a gown for tonight's big banquet." Zhao Jinsha gave her the look, then shot Zhao Ji the exact same look, then fully scanned Luo Bing's entire vibe and said completely flatly, "Oh, so he thinks I'm not presentable enough? Wait, no. Hold on, not at all. That is definitely not what I meant. I just wanted my woman to have a stunning, gorgeous dress. Is that a crime? I was genuinely trying to be romantic here, but unfortunately, I wasn't there to defend myself. I was stuck at a trade meeting signing major import agreements, completely clueless that my tailor's hip measurements were about to be used as literal evidence. In my ongoing trial for being a totally suspicious, shady guy, a man surrounded by way too many insanely attractive women. Note to self for next time, when I send someone to measure my future wife for a dress, maybe pick a less attractive tailor. Except, I don't even have a less attractive tailor. Literally every single person in my county is suspiciously stunning. Somehow this is completely my own fault. So earlier that afternoon, Luo Bing, my master tailor, finally delivered the gown I commissioned for Zhao Jinsha. Completely custom-made, top-tier premium fabric, featuring the absolute finest craftsmanship in all of Bailong. But Zhao Jinsha's immediate reaction? The slit is way too high. These heels are insanely high. I literally look like a cave woman. No way I'm wearing this. So, trying to play it cool, I was like, fine. Just wear whatever makes you comfortable. Big mistake. She got even madder. Apparently, even agreeing with her was the wrong move. I literally cannot win with this woman. Like absolutely zero chance. Then she dropped a bomb. She's boycotting the banquet, and she's locking Huan down at home too. Fine, whatever, be like that. I'll just roll solo to my own party. A party where two thirst-trapped foreign princesses are waiting to pounce. And I won't even have my wife there to act as a human shield. Fantastic game plan, everyone. Truly flawless. Anyway, I suited up in my custom-tailored Zhongshan suit. Clean, ultra-modern, and incredibly sharp. Basically screaming, yeah, I literally invented this whole aesthetic. With that, I flexed my way over to the Star Terrace reception hall. Now, you gotta understand, the Star Terrace is the VIP spot where I host all the foreign dignitaries. And tonight, I had an absolute game-changer waiting for them. See, I'd finally cracked the code on electrical lighting. And hanging right in the center of the hall was a massive, jaw-dropping crystal chandelier powered by literal electricity. It was blindingly bright, especially in an era where people still think overpriced wax candles are the pinnacle of technology. The second the merchants stepped inside, their brains melted. Bro, this is brighter than the legendary mermaid oil lamps we read about in ancient myths. Don't look directly at it, dude. My retinas are literally burning. My staff were just standing there, internally rolling their eyes at these total country bumpkins. Welcome to the future, gentlemen. We rock light bulbs here. Meanwhile, Chongning was already scheming in her corner. So that's an electric lamp. We absolutely have to lock down this tech during the conference. Over in another corner, Yongla was adjusting her dress. And by adjusting, I mean, she essentially pulled up wearing only half a dress. Talk about a strategic deployment of assets. This girl literally came to the banquet armed for war. Her game plan? Sure. Lu Yuan rejected me in public, just because there were too many witnesses tonight. But behind closed doors? I'll make him fold. I'll force him to accept the imperial decree, even if we keep it a secret. Wanda then whispered, Princess, I'm so sorry you have to degrade yourself like this. To which she scoffed, degrade myself? Please. Honestly, a guy this built, any girl would fall for him. My only real concern is that tomboy over there, stealing him away. But right as my arrival is announced, both princesses lock eyes on me and charge, like actual heat-seeking missiles. Channing immediately grabs my left arm. Yongla clamps down on my right, pressing her entire body flush against mine. A wave of her perfume hits me instantly, and her insane assets engulf my arm like quicksand. It's warm, soft, and completely mind-melting quicksand. I look left, huge. I look right, absolutely massive. Bro, my brain is completely short-circuiting here. Look, I'm a man of science, but I'm still a man. Ladies, chill. I have a wife and a kid. Please behave. But Chongning just fires back. Is her status higher than mine? Does she even love you as much as I do? Then Yongla literally takes my hand and places it right on her backside. Feel this. This body was built to breed your sons. I snatch my hand back like I just touched a hot stove. Which honestly I kind of did. These two are absolute menaces. Like international-level menaces. If their fathers found out what their precious royal princesses were pulling right now, it would literally trigger a war. One more touch, I warn, and you're officially banned from Beilong. They pout, instantly shifting to a psychological attack instead. Your wife doesn't even smile at you. She clearly doesn't love you. If she actually cared, why isn't she here tonight? At the biggest, most important event of the year? Call it women's intuition. But she treats you like garbage. Doesn't she? Ouch. That actually stung because they weren't wrong. Xiao Jinxia had been ice-cold lately. She straight up refused to come tonight, keeping me completely at arm's length. Despite everything I've done for her, I go quiet for a split second, but the princesses immediately smell blood in the water. They're just about to move in for the kill. When suddenly, Master Shermu is here. Xiao Ji bursts through the double doors carrying Huang. With Huang grinning like Christmas came early. The entire room whips around toward the entrance and man, there she is. Zhao Jinxia is standing there in a dress with a lethal high slit, rocking high heels, but some think it's too revealing, muttering that it looks like a total barbarian dress. An outfit she literally swore she'd never wear. But the second she stepped through those doors, she completely owned the room. Honestly, she owned the whole city, no, the entire world. Every single step was pure perfection, completely calculated. And the chandelier? The light hit her at the absolute perfect angle. Right then, every dude in the room straight up forgot how to breathe. You could literally hear a synchronized gasp. Dozens of Adam's apples gulping all at once. Grown-ass men, brutal warlords, elite foreign diplomats, and hardened merchants. All reduced to slack-jawed, drooling idiots in a split second. Good lord. She's too gorgeous. Meanwhile, both princesses went completely ice-cold. Their female intuition was screaming at them. This girl is a major threat. She is on a completely different level. As for me, I was just standing there, jaw on the floor, my suit suddenly feeling way too tight. My heart was hammering so damn hard. The massive chandeliers were probably vibrating. She told me she wasn't coming. She complained the dress was way too revealing. She complained the heels were too high, but she pulled up anyway. She put on the dress. She rocked those heels. She glided right into a room packed with foreign royalty and elite international power players. A room where two literal princesses were currently clinging onto her man, and yet she showed up, looking like a goddess sent from above, just to remind everyone what a real 10 out of 10 looks like. She came here for me, and in that exact moment, every single king, every duke, and every prince on this planet could have offered me their entire empire, and I wouldn't have traded it for the look on her face. As she locked eyes and walked toward me, Chongning and Yongla could fight over me all they wanted, but they never stood a chance. Not for a single second. Not against her. She actually did it. She showed up rocking that specific dress. The insane thigh-high slit, the killer red heels, the whole breathtaking look. The dress she called totally barbaric. The heels she claimed she couldn't even walk in. Yet she strutted in like she was born to wear them. Her eyes were deep and dazzling like starlight. Her skin flawless porcelain. Her lips soft cherry blossoms. And that absolute smoke show hugged her curves like it was custom-made by angels, who absolute understood how to break the internet. Literally every guy in the room lost his mind. I'm talking a collective, audible gasp. Just a symphony of pure, desperate thirst. Channing's high-tier looks? Completely irrelevant. Yongla's weaponized charm? Instantly forgotten. Xiao Jinxiao walked in and made those two royal crown princesses look like background NPCs in her own main character movie. She didn't hesitate, walking straight to me, didn't even spare a single glance at the princesses, and locked her arm right through mine, like we'd been power coupling for 20 years. My bad, am I late? The sheer, icy disrespect, the absolute zero eye contact, the savage way she treated two of the most powerful women on the entire continent, like they were literal room decor. Both princesses were hyperventilating with pure, unadulterated rage. Not late at all. You're right on time. I leaned in close and whispered, "That Chong Sam is a cheat code. You look jaw-dropping." Suddenly, her heartbeat spiked. I could feel it pulsing right against my arm. But she just rolled her eyes, playing it cool. "I'm only here because Juan wanted to watch the fireworks show. So don't flatter yourself." "Oh sure. The fireworks. That's definitely why you spent 2 hours getting ready and strutted in here, looking like a goddess ready to conquer an entire civilization." I raised my glass to command the room. "Welcome to Balin County, everyone. To our esteemed guests and of course to Lord Liu." Hundreds of crystal glasses clinked in unison. And then came my absolute favorite part of these international summits. The real money started flying. "Lord Liu, what about the exclusive rights for Burning Blade liquor? It's time for the re-auction, right? The 3-year contract just expired. Burning Blade is my ultimate, top-tier premium spirit. 3 years ago, the Great Scenery's fortune, Commerce Guild, dropped a massive 500,000 silver taels just for exclusive distribution. And they walked away with a cool 2 million in pure profit. Instantly, the room erupted into a savage feeding frenzy. 600,000. 650,000 for a 2.5-year deal. 700,000 for just 1 year. 750,000. These tycoons were ready to straight up murder each other over booze rights. The only reason they weren't throwing hands was the guards. Heavy-armed soldiers were stationed every 10 feet. Pretty hard to start a riot when you've got a literal rifle pressed against your spine. Suddenly, Zhao Jinxia gripped my arm tight. I could feel her entire body freeze in pure shock. See, she'd actually flexed drinking Burning Blade before, thinking it was some exotic, high-end import. Turns out, she'd been chugging my own personal bootleg this whole time. Straight from my local county. It was distributed right through her uncle's black market, and she had absolutely no clue. And then, the wealthy merchants started aggressively piling in. Yo! Don't forget the exclusive refined salt auction. And what about the white sugar? The premium tea? Every single contract was easily worth hundreds of thousands. These grown-ass billionaires were straight up begging me to take their damn money. Beside me, I could practically hear the gears turning in Xiao Jinsha's head. She was doing some painful, soul-crushing math. As the Empress, she had spent painful years scraping together literal pennies, practically begging greedy merchants for scraps, stretching every single budget coin until it broke. Her royal treasury was so starved that even the rats left, solely because there was absolutely nothing inside. Yet here I am, a mere low-ranking county magistrate, with the richest tycoons throwing millions at my feet, like it's pocket change. But then Wang Debao, the absolute powerhouse head of Great Sia's Wanbao Guild, pointed directly at my ceiling chandelier, and completely flipped the script. Lord Liu, last year your gas lamps dropped. Those things alone completely revolutionized modern lighting across 3 entire empires. But this, he stared up at my brilliant electric chandelier, with absolute religious devotion. This makes gas lamps look like pathetic fireflies, compared to the literal sun. Is this masterpiece up for auction? The entire room went completely nuclear. If he sells it, I'm going all in. Going bankrupt is 100% worth it. Both rival princesses instantly locked eyes across the room, sharing one dangerous thought. We must secure this technology at all costs. The bidding war erupted before I could even say yes. 300,000, 500,000, 800,000. In the absolute blink of an eye, the price rocketed straight past 2 million taels. All for a single light bulb. Well, technically for the exclusive manufacturing rights to mass-produce electrical grid lighting in a primitive world that still relies heavily on wax candles. But honestly, even for me, this was insane. The rival Daikian merchants began to panic, turning desperately toward Zhao Ji. My prince, you have to do something. Are we seriously bidding or what? Zhao Ji was sweating bullets. Let's just wait. Ma Sanbao looked like his soul had completely left his body. A single liquor deal, pulling in almost 1 million in salt, sugar and tea, and now millions more for electric lights? We're talking 2 million and still climbing. The annual revenue of my tiny little county was literally eclipsing the entire Deqian Empire's tax income. He was running numbers he really didn't want to run, and hitting conclusions he desperately wanted to avoid. This corrupt rebel official was officially richer than the freaking emperor. Meanwhile, Zhao Jinsha's grip on my arm was starting to hurt. Her nails were basically performing aggressive acupuncture, straight through my sleeve. Inside her head, a single number was echoing on a loop. 2 million, 2 million, 2 million. With that kind of cash, she could fund her entire military reform, pay off every single soldier's back wages, rebuild the capital's crumbling infrastructure, and feed the entire northern province through the winter. Literally every nightmare keeping her awake for years could be instantly solved with the pocket change, generated by just one of my auction items. As for me, I just looked at the screaming crowd of merchants, dismissively waved my hand, and scoffed. 2 million? What? Do you think I'm a beggar? Right then, Jinsha's nails actually drew blood. I was absolutely positive of it now. The supreme empress of the nation was desperately clinging to the arm of the wealthiest man on the planet, watching him brush off 2 million silver coins, like it was total pocket lint, while her own empire couldn't even afford to replace the basic candles in her own palace. And yet this man, this insanely wealthy, ridiculously powerful, technology-hoarding, army-commanding, princess-rejecting absolute lunatic, had chosen her over literally everything else. Over 2 entire kingdoms, 2 gorgeous princesses, and absolute unlimited power. He's either the absolute smartest guy alive, or the ultimate dumbass. The jury's still out on that, but my arm is definitely bleeding right now. 2 million? You seriously think I'm a beggar? Oh yeah, I said that, and I 100% meant it. Because what these people didn't realize yet was that the crystal chandelier was just the freaking appetizer. Chongning slithered over, putting on her best cutesy baby voice. Big bro, since we're such good friends, maybe a little discount? I can even throw myself in as a little bonus gift. Yonghua was absolutely not having it. You call that a gift? With your 2 ounces of absolute nothing? Lu Yuwang isn't looking for some budget deal. She drops a cool 240k. Straight up cash. But Chongning immediately counters with 300k. Then Yonghua flexes another 100k. These two princesses were straight up throwing hands in a massive bidding war, flexing their wealth and putting their own pride on the line. The price absolutely skyrocketed to 5 million taels, and the diplomats from both empires were on the verge of a literal heart attack, desperately trying to shut it down. 5 mil for a light bulb? Insane. But honestly, that was still an absolute steal, because the light bulb wasn't even the real prize here. I slowly raised my hand, and the entire room went dead silent. Listen up, that chandelier is just a flashy bonus. A mere byproduct. The real masterpiece, the ultimate main event of this year's international summit, is the source that brings it to life. I paused for dramatic effect, letting the tension build, because why not? Electricity. Absolute pin-drop silence. 500 faces stared back at me, completely lost. Wang Debeo squinted. My lord, do you mean like actual lightning from the heavens? Exactly like lightning from the heavens. Except I figured out how to completely control it. You could literally hear a pin drop. And then, everyone's brains simultaneously melted. Think about it. Lightning is supposed to be God's weapon. The ultimate divine punishment. It's what the heavens smite you with when they're absolutely furious. And here I was, casually telling 500 elite leaders that I'd basically tamed it like a house pet. Xiao Ji frantically grabbed my sleeve. Master, are you for real right now? Do you possess some legendary, god-tier artifact? Like something straight out of Journey to the West? I just flashed a mysterious smirk. Hey, if they want to think I'm a literal wizard, that's great for branding. Alright, here's the deal, I announced. I can actually beam this electricity directly into your territories. With this power, you can illuminate your cities and run countless other innovations. Lighting is just the tip of the iceberg. But obviously, this electricity isn't a free handout. I held up a single finger. 10 taels per unit. 1 unit will keep a standard lamp running 24/7 for a whole day. And for this year, Bayless can export roughly 1 million units maximum. So first come, first served. Now, let me break down the math for everyone whose brains completely froze up. 1 million units at 10 taels a pop. That is a staggering 10 million taels every single year. The entire hall went so brutally quiet. I could literally hear Ma Sanbao slapping himself just to make sure he wasn't dreaming. Behind me, the old man was straight up slapping himself, desperately trying to wake up from what he thought was a nightmare. But let's put 10 million taels into perspective. The entire Daiken Empire's annual tax revenue in silver is barely 3 million. My electricity bill alone would literally triple the empire's entire income, and this was just from a single product. Throw in the liquor, the salt, the sugar, and the tea, plus the gas lamps and whatever else I'm auctioning off, and we're talking about enough cash to rebuild civilization from scratch. Chongyun went dead silent for the first time all night. Yonghua was biting her lip, staring at me with a whole new kind of hunger. No, not romantic, purely financial. I could practically see the gears turning. If she marries me, all this insane wealth becomes hers. Heck, her father would literally sell her off for a mere fraction of this. Wang Debeo snapped out of it first, screaming, "Sir, 20,000 units. I need 20,000 units right now. Give me 15,000. 10,000 for me." The entire hall erupted into absolute chaos. Every single merchant was screaming out numbers, spit flying everywhere, their faces turning purple, because even at 10 taels a pop, they could flip them for 20 and double their money instantly. This was a literal gold mine, better than anything they'd ever seen. Zhao Ji was shaking, begging the Daiken merchants, Bid whatever it takes. Secure that electricity for us." Meanwhile, Zhao Jinxia? The math was absolutely crushing her soul. 10 million taels. Her entire empire pulls in 3 million in a stellar year. But this year, with the brutal droughts, earthquakes, floods, and rampant famine, their tax revenue had plummeted by half. Her people are starving, her soldiers are completely unpaid, and her imperial treasury literally echoes when you walk through it. 10 million taels could save everything. Everything. It could feed the northern provinces, pay off the army, rebuild the shattered infrastructure, and completely turn her dying empire around overnight. And where was all that world-changing wealth sitting? Right here, attached to the very arm she was clutching. In the exact county she had planned to obliterate, produced by the exact man she was ready to execute. She squeezed my arm so damn hard, I'm pretty sure she left permanent bruises. That's when I calmly raised my hand to stop the noise. Tonight we feast, drink, and enjoy the fireworks. No more talking business, it's way too tacky. The real auction goes down at the main summit, where everyone gets a fair shot at competing. Instantly, 500 elite merchants stared at me, like I just snatched a juicy steak right from a pack of starving wolves. Their faces completely drained of color. Some looked utterly devastated, like they just lost a loved one. I had just dangled a cool 10 million tails right in front of their noses, only to say, "Psych, let's party instead." First, I hit him with that cold-blooded savagery, the ultimate, undisputed power move. Then I casually snapped my fingers. Right on cue, the live band started up, and the venue lights dimmed into a soft, romantic glow. That's when I turned my attention straight to Xiao Jinsha. Taking a smooth step back, I gave her a sophisticated little bow, and offered her my hand. Would this stunning lady do me the honor of a dance? Boom! Every single eye in the room locked onto her. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see Chongning and Yongla, literally sprinting over to intercept her. Xiao looked down at my hand, then glanced at the two high-status princesses charging our way. Without hesitating, she slipped her hand into mine. I pulled her in close, locking one hand firmly around her waist. With her hand on my shoulder, our faces were just inches apart. I could literally feel the warmth of her breath, catch the intoxicating scent of her perfume, and see her pulse racing wildly against her throat. "Hey, just relax," I whispered softly. "It's just a classic waltz, a total Bailong specialty. Just follow my lead." "And who says I'm nervous?" She shot back defiantly, though her fingertips were visibly trembling. We began to glide across the floor as the music swelled. Above us, the massive crystal chandelier scattered light everywhere like a cluster of trapped stars. Meanwhile, the two most powerful princesses on the planet froze dead in their tracks. They just stood there watching us dance, realizing they'd already lost the game. Then, keeping her eyes averted, she asked me in a barely audible whisper, "Those two princesses are crazy about you, so why didn't you just choose one of them?" And right there, spinning slowly beneath my dazzling electric chandelier, surrounded by 500 elite guests who would literally kill to be in my shoes, I was finally holding the one woman I'd been searching for, across 5 long years and 2 entire lifetimes. I had the absolute perfect, mic drop response ready to go, but of course, the chapter cuts to black before I can even say a word. Bro, this author's cliffhangers are absolutely killing me, and honestly, I'm the main character here. We were mid-dance, her hand resting on my shoulder, and my hand right on her waist. Above us, the massive chandelier was scattering pure starlight. Suddenly, she dropped the exact question I'd been waiting for. "Why didn't you accept those foreign princesses?" "I've already got a gorgeous wife and daughter," I replied smoothly, breathing in the intoxicating scent of her hair. "Besides, I'm a proud Dakin man through and through. I'm not about to sell out my homeland just for a shiny crown." She went dead silent for a split second, but then she pressed harder. "Both of those massive empires literally worship you. Yet your own emperor treats you like you don't even exist. Doesn't that drive you insane? Look, how can she reward me when she has absolutely no clue what I've actually been doing? It's not her fault at all. I explicitly told Xiao Ji to keep everything under wraps. And then, well, I'm not exactly proud of this, but I gently rested my chin on her shoulder. Hey, the music was slow. She smelled absolutely incredible, and my impulse control was sitting at a solid 0%. Bam! She stomped directly on my foot. Ouch! Relax. Standard ballroom choreography requires close shoulder contact. It's completely normal. She shot back. Do I look blind to you? Fair point. I was definitely pushing my luck. I reluctantly lifted my head back up, desperately trying to steer the conversation elsewhere, before she decided to crush the rest of my toes. Listen, I have zero desire to be a fancy marquis or some grand general. High society politics? Absolutely disgusting. I'd much rather be a minor king ruling my own quiet corner of the world. That's just cowardice, she countered. Pure laziness. Every truly great man dreams of serving his country with honor. And right there I decided to get completely real with her. Maybe too real. True patriotism doesn't need a megaphone to prove itself. Look, I can't save an entire nation by myself. So I protect a county. And if I can't manage a whole county, I protect a single village. If even a village is too much, then I save whoever happens to be standing right in front of me. But above all else, I have to keep myself alive first. Marching into the capital means diving head first into toxic court politics, endless backstabbing, and pure misery. Out here, I call all the shots. I get to build and shape this territory exactly how I see fit, with 0 emperors breathing down my neck. I paused for a beat. And now, I've got one more crucial job. Keeping you and Wan completely safe. She scoffed, calling me a coward and claiming it was all just convenient excuses, but I could feel her pulse racing violently through our interlaced fingers. Her heart was pounding because deep down, she knew I wasn't bluffing. Every single word was raw, unapologetically selfish, and entirely real. So, she decided to switch up her tactics. What if I asked you to move to the capital? To serve the empire? Then who's running Beilong? Over 1 million lives depend on me here. I can't just hand the keys to some random. You have insane talent. Why won't you even try? Too exhausting. Managing one county is already running me ragged. The capital would literally put me in an early grave. Bro, I could practically feel her wanting to bite my head off. She was visibly vibrating with pure frustration. Just imagine, here is the undercover empress herself, trying to scout the most brilliant mastermind in her entire realm. And this dude just keeps hit her with, nah. Sounds like way too much work. That's when she decided to drop a major bait. Don't you even care to know who I really am? My heart skipped a beat. Obviously, I did. But hey, if you want to tell me, you will. I'm not gonna force it. Well, my family has deep ties to the imperial court. Oh, really? What kind of position does your old man hold? Actually, you know what? Forget it. Tell him to quit. The great Deqian is going straight down the toilet. This entire dynasty is going to collapse within 3 years max. Honestly, maybe even 1. Just bring your family here. I'll keep all of you safe. She glared at me like she was ready to commit actual murder. And fair enough, I had just casually told the secret empress of Deqian that her absolute pride and joy was completely doomed, her administration was utterly worthless, and that her dad should just rage quit. All right to her face. And I said all this while slow dancing with her. Is he in the Ministry of Finance? I guessed because their accounting books must be an absolute nightmare. Stop talking. She immediately broke away from the dance, completely furious. I basically just told her that her entire life's mission,
Ruling en empire, surviving à brutal coup.
and holding a collapsing nation together through war and famine, was totally pointless, and that she should just pack it up and move to my cozy little county. Yeah, definitely not my smoothest Riz moment. She stared across the room, where Zhao Ji was currently galloping around with Huang riding on his back, while Ma Sanbao was sprinting behind them, screaming, "Slow down! You're gonna drop the princess. The little miss." Just then, the music cut out, and the main lights flooded back on. The princesses were over in the corner, totally sulking, and aggressively chugging their drinks. And then, boom! The night sky outside instantly exploded into a kaleidoscope of colors. My custom Mega Grand fireworks show had just begun. A solid 30 minutes of the absolute wildest fireworks this world has ever witnessed. Insane colors that literally shouldn't exist. Visual patterns straight out of a spellbook. And explosions so breathtaking they'd make a grown man cry. I immediately grabbed Jinxia and hauled her to the prime VIP spot on the terrace. Red Lady and Eagle, I completely locked down a private zone for us. Out of pure habit, I reached for a cigarette, but the second I caught a glimpse of her face, I tucked it right back. Real men don't let their family breathe in secondhand smoke. That's just facts. Meanwhile, she just stared up at the sky in total silence. At first, the deafening blasts totally startled her. She'd never seen anything remotely like this before. But then, her eyes went wide, softening completely, revealing an expression I had never seen on her face until now. Wonder. Pure. Unfiltered, unguarded wonder. Like a little girl witnessing real-life magic for the very first time. For 30 whole minutes, the Ice Queen completely forgot she was an empress. Forgot I was a traitor. Forgot all her heavy burdens. Forgot everything, except for the sky painted with impossible glowing colors. A show I had custom-built just for her and her daughter. Once the grand finale wrapped and the guests finally cleared out, I carried a completely zonked-out Wan back inside. The kid was draped over my shoulder like a tiny, adorable drunkard, totally knocked out cold, yet somehow still clutching a half-eaten sugar crisp in her little fist. I was just about to tuck her into their bedroom, when she suddenly tightened her arms right around my neck. Half asleep, She mumbled, "Daddy, I want to sleep with you tonight. Can you and Mommy both stay with me? Please?" Bro, my heart instantly liquefied. I shot a nervous glance at Xiao Jinxia, already mentally drafting my rejection speech. "Sorry, sweetie. Mommy probably needs her own space. So maybe tomorrow we can." "Fine. I'll stay too." Whipping my head around so fast my neck literally cracked. I stammered, "Wait, what did you just say?" I said, "Fine. I'll sleep in here with you and Wan Wan, just to help her doze off. So don't get any ideas." "Don't get any ideas?" She's seriously telling me not to get ideas. This is the exact woman who just agreed to crash in my bed. In my room right next to me, my brain short-circuited down to a single chaotic thought. "Wait, what?" Followed immediately by, "Is this real life right now? Did I actually die out there during that brutal barbarian battle? And this is just heaven? Or did I just accidentally inhale way too many gunpowder fumes? Like, am I hallucinating right now?" Huan Huan mumbles happily in her sleep, nuzzling deeper into my neck. Xiao Jinxiao brushes right past me toward my bedroom, completely avoiding eye contact. But her ears are bright red. Her neck is flushed. Honestly, everything above her collar looks like my fireworks. I just stand there holding my daughter, jaw completely dropped, watching the most powerful woman on the planet walk straight into my bedroom. I mean, think about it. Just 2 days ago, I was a single bachelor with heavy artillery and a drinking problem. Now, I've got a daughter, an empress, 2 stalker princesses, a literal electricity empire, and apparently a bedtime story to tell. Life comes at you fast in Balin County. So, she actually agreed to share a room with me. Okay, sure, with Huan Huan acting as a human barrier. But still, same bed, same room, same blanket. This is strictly to help Huan Huan sleep, she announces with the icy warmth of a literal glacier. Nothing else. Period. Oh, absolutely. 100% understood. Meanwhile, inside my head, fireworks. Way more explosive than the actual show I just put on. Suddenly, Huan Huan discovers the mattress and immediately starts treating it like a trampoline. "Daddy, this bed is so bouncy. That's a genuine Simmons mattress. Sweetheart, I actually invented it this year. Check out that spring-loaded core. Premium palm fiber padding. Guaranteed to last 15 years minimum." Xiao Huan Huan, stop. You're going to break it. "Ah, it's fine, baby girl. Bounce all you want. If it breaks, Daddy will just build a new one." Xiao Jinxiao glares at me, then cautiously sits on the edge. Instantly, her annoyed look turns into pure confusion. "Wait. Why is it so plush? How is it even bouncing like this?" "Internal steel springs. No other country on Earth can manufacture these bad boys. The metallurgy required is insane. You're underestimating my people." I just smile and keep it low-key. She can doubt me all she wants. But seriously, show me another civilization with industrial-grade spring steel, and I'll literally eat my own cannon. Suddenly, Huan Huan crashes hard. She curls up right against me, grabs a fistful of my shirt, and starts talking in her sleep, in that adorable, sleepy mumble that absolutely destroys a father's heart. "Daddy, I've never been this happy in my entire life. Usually, I just play all by myself because Mommy is always so busy. And the people around here, they're so mean to us. Sometimes I don't even cry out loud anymore, because I don't want to make Mommy sad. I just hide under my blanket and cry all by myself." Hearing that, my heart didn't just break. It completely shattered, and then those pieces crumbled into dust. Xiao Jinxia instantly jumped in, acting all defensive. "It's not that I ignore her, I swear. I know." I cut her off softly, and I truly meant it. I could see everything in her eyes. The overwhelming guilt, the pure exhaustion, and the crushing weight of doing everything alone for 5 straight years. I gently put a finger to my lips. "Shoo." Then, I started softly humming a lullaby. It was something warm and comforting. A melody from my past life. That didn't even exist in this world. "Little baby, close your eyes. In your dreams, I'll be right by your side." Slowly, Wan Wan's tight grip on my shirt began to loosen. Her eyelids grew incredibly heavy. She let out a massive yawn, and gave me the sweetest, most breathtaking smile I've ever seen. "Love you, Daddy." Just 3 simple words. 3 words. And I was completely done for. Totally defeated. This tiny, precious human had just completely conquered me. For her, I will literally burn entire empires to the ground. I will invent devastating new weapons just to protect her. I will wage war against the literal gods for her. Her other little hand was tightly clutching her mother's, and within minutes she was completely out cold. I gradually stopped humming, and turned around to say something to Zhao Jinxia, but to my surprise, she was asleep too. The legendary Empress of Daiqian actually fell asleep to my lullaby, knocked out completely like a baby, just totally gone. But even in her deep sleep, she was still frowning. Her entire body was curled up into a tight, defensive ball, with her hands pulled up anxiously close to her chest, as if she was constantly shielding herself from some unseen threat. There was absolutely no peace here, no sense of safety. Even while totally unconscious, this woman was still fiercely on guard. 5 brutal years of sleeping with one eye open, raising a child entirely on her own, fighting off a corrupt imperial court, and being branded a total disgrace just for giving birth to my daughter. She hadn't had a single night of genuine, peaceful rest. I quietly looked down at my 2 girls. One so tiny and fragile, the other so fierce and powerful, yet both deeply broken in ways I couldn't possibly fix overnight. And right then I made a silent vow, an absolute promise for this new life. No one lays a single finger on them. Not barbarians, not rival empires, not even the entire world. When morning rolled around, I woke up to find Huan Huan burrowed straight into my chest like a little human caterpillar. Super cute, right? But then I noticed something else. Xiao Jinxiao wasn't even on her own pillow anymore. Nope. She was fast asleep right on my arm. Her head was perfectly nestled in the crook of my elbow, with her leg completely draped over my body. We're talking full-on koala mode. She literally chose me as her mattress. The literal Empress was using me as a personal body pillow. But then her eyes instantly snapped open. She immediately realized my arm was under her head. Her leg was wrapped around me, and my face was barely 6 inches from hers. Thank God we were both still fully clothed. But man, this position was incredibly compromising. She went from sleepy to absolutely horrified in 0.3 seconds flat. She quickly checked her clothes. Yep. Everything was intact. While she was internally panicking, I smugly asked, "Sleep well?" "Terrible," she shot back. "Easily the worst sleep of my life." Total liar. This girl slept like an absolute rock. It was literally the first full night of rest she's had in 5 years, and she has the nerve to call it terrible? Honestly, this woman would rather die on this hill than admit she was actually comfortable. "Hey, maybe the mattress just needs breaking in," I teased. "How about we give it a few more nights?" But the glare she gave me basically said, "Try saying that again, and I will literally rip your tongue out." I carefully slid my completely dead, numb arm out from under her, snuck out of bed without waking Huan Huan, and quietly opened the bedroom door. Instantly, Ma Sanbao fell face first into the room. Oh, for heaven's sake. This loyal old man had literally been standing guard right outside my bedroom door the entire night, just acting like a human doorstop, pressing his ear hard against the wood, fully prepared to crash the place. The exact second he heard anything remotely suspicious. Red Lady was standing nearby, looking highly amused. Yep, he really stood out there the whole night. I helped him up and said, "Look, Ma Sanbao, they are completely safe with me. Nobody can touch them here. You seriously don't need to guard my door like this." He quickly dusted himself off and hissed, "If you want me to stop worrying, then keep your hands to yourself." Fair play. The guy was guarding my bedroom like a literal eunuch, protecting the absolute sanctum of the imperial chambers. Which honestly was exactly what he was doing. I just hadn't connected the dots yet. After breakfast, which I whipped up myself, obviously, because top-tier parenting requires a legendary pancake feast, my secretary finally rolls in. "Sir, the trial and the grand award ceremony are fully prepped. All the VIPs are seated and waiting on your cue." I threw a look over at Zhao Jinxia. "You rolling with me, or staying behind?" "Don't worry your pretty little head about my schedule, Daddy." I wanted to go, but then I looked at her mom. "What about you?" Huan Huan hit her with that devastating, bulletproof 4-year-old logic. "I'll watch the whole thing, come back, and give you the full recap." "You little traitor. You've had a dad for exactly 2 days, and suddenly I've ceased to exist? Come on, just tag along with us. It'll be epic. I want the entire county to meet you. The official First Lady of Beilong. Lu Yuan, get this through your head. I am not your wife. We co-parent one child, and that is the end of the story. I, Zhao Jinxia, will absolutely never be anyone's missus, in this lifetime. Alright, challenge accepted. You win for now. I scooped Huan high up into the air. Alright, my little princess. Since mommy doesn't want to be the first lady, that means you get to be Bailong County's #1 princess instead. Huan just giggled, clapping her tiny hands together. But daddy, Huan is already a real-life princess. Cue the dead silence. Zhao Jinxia instantly went pale, because Huan, my sweet, innocent, easily bribed with candy, secret-spilling daughter, had just casually dropped the bomb that she's actual royalty. Right in front of me, in front of the staff, in front of absolutely everyone. Zhao Wan. Zip it right now. The poor kid had zero clue what she'd even done wrong. I mean, she is a princess. That's a literal fact. She was just stating the obvious. But Zhao Jinxia was on the verge of a total meltdown, because one more tiny slip-up like that, and her entire cover story goes completely up in smoke. Her 4-year-old had already leaked her real name, her secret hotel, her fragile emotional state, and now her actual royal status. All for the incredibly low price of some sweet treats and daddy hugs. I just stood there, holding my daughter, thinking, wait, what? She just said she's a real princess. What a bizarre thing for a kid to say. So, did I actually connect the dots, guys? Spoiler alert. I absolutely did not. Bro, I literally invented electricity, gunpowder, freaking cannons, cement, spring mattresses, and electric lighting. But apparently my brain has a massive, specific blind spot. Shaped exactly like your secret baby mama is actually the literal empress. Anyway, we're heading to the trial, so this should be a total circus. But first we had our very first real fight, and it was all over a quick smack on a 4-year-old's butt. Huan casually drops, I'm already a princess. Which, okay, is a pretty wild thing for a toddler to flex. But kids say crazy stuff all the time, right? Except Zhao Jinxiao completely lost it. She snatched Huan right out of my arms and swatted her, but she did it so fast it practically created a sonic boom. What did I tell you about spouting absolute nonsense? Huan's bottom lip started trembling, those big doe eyes instantly filling with tears, and something inside me went from 0 to full Papa Bear mode. In about half a second flat. Why the hell are you hitting her? This is Bailong, not the imperial capital. In my heart, she is a princess, and I'd say it straight to the emperor's face. If the emperor has a problem with that, he can come catch these hands. Yeah, I really said all that, fiercely defending my daughter's right to call herself a princess, to the actual literal emperor who was standing right there. Zhao Jinxiao looked like she wanted to strangle me, bury my body, dig me up, and then strangle me all over again. If you keep spoiling her like this, she's going to grow up completely ruined. Nobody spoiled her for 5 years. But I'm here now, and I'll spoil her as much as I damn well please. Anyone who dares bully my daughter is as good as dead. We are leaving in 2 days. You won't be going to the capital, and you won't be serving this country. Stop making promises you can't actually keep. With that, we both stormed off in completely opposite directions. Well, technically, I stormed off holding the baby, and she angrily stormed off right after the baby. Ma Sanbao just watched the whole disaster from the sidelines, muttering, "Cursed romance. This is absolute poison." Eventually, I made it to the trial grounds, sat down and sat Huan right on my lap, still completely fuming. But then Zhao Jinxiao materialized out of nowhere, sitting down right next to me without saying a single word, her entire face looking as cold as the freaking Arctic. Just staring straight ahead like I was completely invisible. She actually followed me, meaning she's absolutely furious. But hey, she still followed me. Zhang Wei and Zhao Ji just exchanged worried glances. Both princesses were literally gnashing their teeth. Up in the VIP section. But alright, it's business time. Bring out the prisoners. Over 11,000 barbarian prisoners were marched out and forced straight onto their knees. 11,000 guys stretching across the entire plaza. The visual alone was absolutely terrifying. Oh, and right downwind from the county, at the 3-way border crossing, we built a massive monument out of the enemy's heads. Over 10,000 skulls, perfectly preserved in quicklime, stacked into a giant pyramid. A brutal warning to anyone thinking about messing with us. Yeah, I built a literal skull pyramid. Is it overly dramatic? You bet. But does it work? Absolutely. Merchant caravans spot that thing from a mile away, and suddenly decide to act like perfect little angels. Next, the secretary read out the charges. Every single prisoner was sentenced to the labor camps. Permanent hard labor, building roads, mining, heavy construction. No parole and absolutely no mercy. The foreign diplomats were losing their minds, frantically whispering that these guys were elite cavalry, and any empire would kill to recruit them. And here he is, sending them to break rocks. Yeah, because I don't need unreliable barbarian cavalry. I have guns. Just give me 1 more year. And traditional cavalry won't even be a relevant military concept anymore. Why would I add 11,000 potential traitors to my ranks, when I can add 11,000 free construction workers instead? Then came the part that actually mattered. The real reason I hold these ceremonies in the first place. In this battle, Balin County lost 2 true heroes. Please, welcome the spirits of our fallen. 2 honor guards walked out, solemnly carrying the urns. The entire plaza went dead silent. 100,000 spectators, soldiers, civilians, merchants, and foreign diplomats all fell quiet at once. Everyone, please rise. Remove your hats for a moment of silence. I took off my own hat, holding it tightly over my heart, and what happened next completely shocked everyone. And that is exactly why I will never turn my back on this place. Right then, every single soul in that plaza took off their hat. The adults dropped to 1 knee, while the kids fell to both, bowing their heads all the way to the dirt. An entire city, completely united to honor 2 soldiers who died protecting them. Chow read their final records through a flood of tears. Jia Ergu, a Bailong native, just 17 years old, unmarried, served 3 brutal years in the guard battalion, fought like an absolute beast, and laid down his life for the people of Bailong. 17. He was only 17. Literally just a kid. My kid. One of my own soldiers. Someone I trained, fed, and watched grow up right before my eyes. Next up, Shin Daniel, Bailong native. Age 18, married. A father of 2 with 4 years of service under his belt. 18 with 2 kids. And now those babies are completely fatherless. All because some savage barbarians decided to ambush us. Right on our parade day. The wind howled through the plaza, as old women openly wept and grandfathers pointed toward the urns, telling their grandchildren, "Look at those heroes. Grow up to be just like them." I slowly walked up to the urns, gently straightening the county flag draped over each one. My hands were rock steady, but my chest was burning with pure rage. Brothers, thank you for everything you sacrificed for Bailong. Some deaths carry no weight at all, but yours carry the weight of entire mountains. Starting today, your names are officially etched into the Heroes' Hall. The entire county will honor your legacy forever. I, Lu Yuan, swear this before every single citizen standing here today. Your families will be taken care of, and your children will be raised with absolute honor. If I ever break this oath, may I suffer the most gruesome death imaginable. I raised my fist high to the sky and turned to face the massive crowd. Brothers and sisters of Bailong, how do we ensure our fallen heroes truly rest in peace? 100,000 voices instantly roared back as one deafening entity. Blood for blood, a tooth for a tooth. With barbarian blood, we avenge our heroes' souls. Kill, kill, kill. The ground literally shook. The very air vibrated. Picture 100,000 pissed-off people screaming for vengeance in perfect unison. Even the captive barbarian prisoners forced onto the dirt were violently shaking in pure terror. Meanwhile, up in the VIP section, Chongning went completely numb, and Yongla's mind short-circuited entirely. Neither of their empires had ever seen anything like this. This wasn't just basic military discipline. This wasn't driven by fear. This was 100,000 people completely ready to die for each other. Ready to die for me. Zhao Ji literally wiped his eyes. Now I finally get why Bai Yang never loses a single battle. Zhang Wei just gave a quiet nod. Because these people genuinely love this land. They love each other, and they love their magistrate. Honestly, how could they not be invincible? Even Ma Sanbao was sniffling. Damn, that corrupt dog official really knows how to hit you in the feels. And then there's Xiao Jinxiao, my absolute ice queen. The exact same woman who was literally throwing hands with me over a single but smack 20 minutes ago. She was just staring as I stood right in front of those funeral urns, making solemn oaths to fallen teenagers, shedding tears right alongside my people, and instantly forging all that raw grief into absolute, iron-hard unity. And for the first time ever, she wasn't plotting treason or thinking about executions, or calling me a dog official. Instead, she was wondering, how on earth does he do this? How does one man transform a barren wasteland into a tight-knit family? Why don't my own people love me like this? Why can't my empire have the exact same spark this county has? And somewhere, buried deep beneath all that royal pride and intense suspicion, she asked herself, why did I really wait 5 long years to come back to him? She'd never admit it out loud, but I caught a glimpse of her eyes. They were totally watering, and it definitely wasn't from the wind. Kill! 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 A massive chorus of 1,000,000 voices literally shook the ground. My people, my city, absolutely screaming for barbarian blood. All because 2 of our young boys had fallen. 2. Just 2 ordinary soldiers. Yet my entire county was ready to burn the entire barbarian nation straight to ash. To avenge them, that is exactly what sets Beilong apart. In literally any other country, 2 dead soldiers would just be a statistical rounding error, a minor footnote, but here, it's an immediate, full-scale declaration of war. I hoisted my fist high and gave the crowd exactly what they wanted. The second this international conference wraps up, we march out and we completely flatten those barbarians. Every single hero who laid down their life for Beilong will get absolute justice. Hearing that, the foreign diplomats turned utterly pale. Especially Zhang Songyan from the scenery country. Wang Da and Xia were both standing there, completely questioning every single life choice that led them to this plaza. Why? Because they just watched a local magistrate. Casual flex a threat of total annihilation. All over 2 casualties and 1,000,000 people roared in approval. Like he just announced free open bar. Right then, one universal thought united every single foreign delegation. Whatever we do, do not cross Beilong. Ever. Next, I ordered the top 100 barbarian officers to be executed on the spot, a public beheading right then and there. Heads literally started rolling across the plaza, with blood pooling deep into the cracks of my beautiful concrete. Zhao Jinxia quickly covered Huang's eyes, but she didn't look away for a second. Honestly, she looked completely thrilled. Turns out her father, whoever that mystery man is, since she still won't give me a name, spent his entire life plotting to crush the barbarians, but kicked the bucket before he could finish the job. Now, she was watching me achieve what her dad never could. While the merchants' wives were literally puking in the corner, my people didn't even flinch. Just another Tuesday in Beilong. Then came the reward ceremony, and this is where everyone's jaws officially hit the floor. Every wounded soldier got fat stacks of cash, massive bonuses and instant promotions. Every single kill was rewarded. I was handing out silver like it was Halloween candy. By the time Chow finished reading off the roster, I had distributed over 2,000,000 taels. That breaks down to 20 taels per confirmed kill. Cold, hard silver paid out right on the spot. The foreign merchants did the math, and their brains completely short-circuited. Ma Sanbao was clutching his head in agony. Reckless. This is absolutely insane spending. Zhao Ji leaned over to Zhang Wei, whispering, "Hey, what was the entire military budget for Baiyong Pass last year?" Zhang Wei winced, visibly pained. Under 200,000 taels. Beilong County's 30,000 troops. Burn through about 1.2 million a year. In total military funding. Zhang Wei looked like someone had just punched him in the soul. His massive fortress, packed with 5 times the manpower, survives on a shoestring budget. A mere fraction of what I just dropped. In battle bonuses in a single afternoon. To put it in perspective, the entire Dacian national defense budget, across all branches combined, was practically equal to what my county spends. Think about that. One tiny county, matching an entire nation. Zhang Wei looked like he wanted to crawl into a hole and die. But hey, it's no wonder my soldiers fight like absolute demons. While every other warlord pays their men barely enough to not starve, I'm paying mine enough to literally buy prime real estate. Now you tell me which army is gonna fight harder. As soon as the ceremony wrapped up, I rushed off to inspect the progress on our new exhibition hall. Huang was completely exhausted, so Xiao Jinsha took her back home to rest. Meanwhile, the massive bombshell I had just dropped, that Bailong was gearing up to invade the barbarians, was already spreading across the continent like wildfire. Now, what I didn't know at the time was the absolute chaos unfolding inside the barbarian capital. But when my spies finally filled me in later, honestly, the whole situation was hilarious and terrifying at the exact same time. The barbarian Khan, Old Man Tumen, was slumped over in his golden tent, looking like absolute death warmed over, while his 2 idiot sons were screaming their lungs out at each other. The first son, Weshan, yelled, "Listen to me. This is entirely your fault. You actually listened to those fools from the Xia Empire and went ahead to kidnap Zhang Wei. Now Saya is dead, and we just lost 30,000 of our absolute elite. The second son, Yexian, fired right back. Oh please. At least I'm not secretly selling out to the Liang Empire. You backstabbing snake. Weixin snapped. Working with Liang is diplomacy. Your little stunt with Zhang Wei was pure suicide. They just kept going back and forth, pointing fingers, while the old Khan looked like he wanted to strangle them both. Finally, Weixin laid down the cold, hard truth. Our legendary wolf cavalry is cut in half, and Lu Yuan just announced he's coming to wipe us off the face of the earth. The second his little trade conference ends. He's got heavy cavalry that easily overpowers ours. Infantry specifically trained to crush mounted charges, heavy cannons, firearms, and now 30,000 of our own prime horses. How do you honestly plan on fighting him? With those 30 stolen muskets we don't even have ammo for? Or maybe those dummy training grenades that don't even explode? Yexian immediately shut his mouth, because deep down he knew Weixin was right. My heavy armored cavalry completely outclassed their wolf riders. My elite saber infantry was literally engineered for the sole purpose of shutting down cavalry charges. My devastating artillery units made defending any fortress a joke. And to top it all off, I had just secured enough horses to double the size of my army. Just like that, they're completely cooked, and they know it. But the old chief, he makes a wild call. One that sends pure shivers down his son's spines. We're calling in the main branch. See, here's the insane plot twist I didn't see coming. These local barbarians? They're just a tiny splinter group. 2 centuries ago, during the massive Continental War, the original barbarian horde got absolutely annihilated. This small faction fled straight to the borderlands, changing their names just to stay hidden. Meanwhile, the main branch vanished into the freezing far north. And during those 200 years of absolute silence, they straight up conquered the entire western continent. We're talking 1 million elite mounted warriors, and tens of millions of slaves under their boot. An empire bigger than all 3 major nations combined. And this desperate, dying Khan was about to drop them a message. That basically goes, "Hey cousins, remember us? Yeah, we're getting absolutely wrecked by a local governor, who has literal thunder weapons. Please carry us. We'll serve you forever. Just don't let our bloodline go extinct." Ishan immediately warns him, "If we call them in, our days of royalty are over. We'll just be low-tier puppets under their rule." The old Khan just closes his eyes. Better to be a living servant than a dead king. Our ancestors ordered us to conquer this realm, and we failed. But if the main horde rides back with 1 million troops, then maybe, just maybe, the mission gets finished. Bro, let me get this straight. I'm out here trying to crush a minor barbarian tribe, and their immediate response is to call their massive big brother a literal global superpower, with 1 million-man cavalry that nobody even knew existed, just to jump me instead. Man, I just wanted to manage a cozy county, pave some roads, and maybe invent ancient air conditioning. But no, because now, there's a massive wave of 1 million horsemen, about to blitz from the edge of the map. All because I was too good at my job. This is exactly what happens when you overachieve. The universe just spawns a much bigger boss fight. You love me. I love you, honey. Ice City, sweet and true. Yup, I straight up blasted a Mishua jingle across my trade fair. Perks of being a time traveler. Absolutely nobody can stop me. Cut to the morning of the massive international summit. I woke up early, gathered my girls, and headed out to flex for them. The absolute biggest trade expo in the ancient world. Welcome to my expo, now in its 4th annual run. And trust me, every year gets bigger and crazier. Little Huan Huan was completely losing her mind at all the hype. "Daddy, what's that?" "Oh, that big, fluffy white thing? That's the Snow King mascot, sweetie." "Daddy, look over there. That thing looks exactly like a cloud." "Eagle Eye. Secure us some cotton candy, stat." Eagle Eye didn't hesitation and sprinted straight over. Picture a 7-foot-tall, cross-eyed warrior buying cotton candy. Absolute peak comedy. But hey, he came back with a whole handful. I handed one to Huan Huan and offered another to Xiao Jinsha. "Come on, try it. It's actually fire." Pass. Pure Ice Queen energy. She had been giving me the cold shoulder ever since yesterday's fight. Just straight-up Arctic treatment. Right then, Red Lady snatched the cotton candy straight out of my hand. If she doesn't want it, I'm taking it. Some people are just aggressively difficult. Xiao Jinsha didn't even spare her a glance. "Please, Some people only deserve my leftovers. Red Lady's hand immediately flew to her sword hilt. I quickly grabbed her wrist. Red Lady, chill out. She aggressively bit into the cotton candy, muttering, "What's so damn special about having a daughter anyway? I can make one too." I noped out and scooted away so fast. I almost fell completely off the carriage. Xiao Jinsha just snorted. Man, this chaotic love triangle is literally going to be the death of me. Finally, we pulled up to the main exhibition hall, a massive custom complex I built specifically for these mega events. But then Ma Sanbao took one look at the intricate dragon and phoenix carvings, guarding the entrance, and he nearly had a full-blown aneurysm. Dragons and phoenixes. That's strictly imperial branding. That is highly illegal. Who authorized this treason? Eagle I just stared at him like he was completely brain-dead. Bro, this is the Bailong capital. Your basic laws don't apply here, you cross-eyed chicken. I've about had it with you. Cross your mother's eyes, you jerk. The name is Eagle Eye. I desperately had to intervene before my bodyguard casually murdered my future father-in-law's right-hand man. Chill, Eagle Eye. Be nice to Uncle Ma. Chill out, Uncle Ma. New city, new rules. As we stepped inside, honestly, even I was blown away by how epic it looked. This year, there were literally hundreds of exhibition booths, covering every single category imaginable: food, apparel, housing, transportation, cutting-edge tech, and high-end luxury goods. Over 400 booths in total. And get this, each spot rented for a staggering 100 taels per foot, meaning a tiny 3-meter booth cost well over 1,000 taels a day. For just a 3-day event, the booth rentals alone raked in over a cool 1 million taels in pure revenue. Ma Sanbao was straight up having a mini heart attack looking at the numbers. He couldn't fathom why these rich elite weren't investing in the capital instead. But Xiao Jinshao actually answered that one for him. Because absolutely nobody in the capital had the vision to build a platform like this. Only a lawless, chaotic borderland could successfully attract merchants from all 3 major empires at the exact same time. Then she locked those incredibly sharp eyes right onto me. You're trying to turn Bailong into the ultimate powerhouse hub for all 3 nations, aren't you? Close. But not quite, I said, casually picking up some tea leaves from a nearby stall. I want Bailong to dominate the absolute peak of every single industry. Take tea, for example. Every country grows it. So why is Bailong's tea literally worth its weight in gold? Because it's unique? She guessed. Exactly. We've mastered unique processing methods that yield flavors that absolutely nobody else can copy. But sooner or later, our competitors will reverse engineer something similar. And that is exactly when branding takes over. Branding? You mean, like a shop's reputation and name? Look at her, connecting the dots already. She tried her best to play it cool, but I caught that split-second flash of pride on her face. The literal empress was actually getting giddy over a little compliment from a mere county magistrate about basic economics. Talk about progress, people. Right now, every other country's local tea is selling for absolute dirt-cheap cabbage prices. I continued, but whatever is made in Bailong sells for pure gold. That right there is industry dominance. They can't match us, so they're forced to buy from us. We control the entire supply chain. We set the prices and we completely own the game. She gave a slow, deliberate nod, and you could practically see the gears turning in her head as she absorbed every single detail, already plotting how to weaponize these concepts. For the massive empire she still hadn't admitted she ruled. But then we hit the one booth that completely broke everyone's brains. A flawless melody was blasting straight out of a wooden box. No singer, no band, no instruments. Just pure music echoing out of thin air. Oh, glorious Bailong, magnificent Bailong. You're the city that never sleeps. Instantly, wealthy merchants swarmed the booth like moths to a flame. What on earth is this thing? One yelled. How is it throwing down beats all by itself? Wait, is that Lady Wanqing's voice? The absolute #1 pop star in Bailong. Did you trap her soul inside that box? Right on cue, my exhibition host stepped up with a dazzling sales smile. Calm down, gentlemen. Presenting Bailong's ultimate breakthrough. The phonograph. It captures live performances and plays them back anytime, anywhere. Just power it up, and you've got the realm's finest music. Right in your living room. Every high-status gentleman absolutely needs one. The host then dropped the ultimate business bait. Wholesale price is 300 taels a pop, minimum 5 units, or you can secure exclusive national distribution rights for just 250 a unit. The entire room went absolutely feral. Give me the exclusive rights for the Western Province. 10,000 taels. I'll double it. 20,000 for the North. It was literally just a phonograph, a basic record player. But these moguls were ready to launch a literal war over a shiny wooden box that made noise. Why? Because, in a fantasy world where you have to hire a whole orchestra just to hear a single song, a portable machine that conjures music at will is straight-up witchcraft. And this was just one single booth. One mind-blowing product out of 400. Beside me, Xiao Jinxian was white-knuckling my arm again. Trust me, it wasn't romantic. She was gripping me like a drowning survivor clutching a life raft. Her entire empire could barely afford basic candles, while my little county was out here casually auctioning off phonographs, electric grids, and next-gen audio tech like it was a weekend garage sale. Talk about a total flex. He'd completely given up on tracking the numbers. Honestly, his brain straight-up blue-screened about 3 booths ago. Now he was just shuffling behind us like a zombie, dead-eyed, and muttering numbers that didn't even make sense anymore. And the crazy part? We hadn't even reached the electricity auction yet. I effortlessly threw on my sunglasses. Yeah, I basically invented sunglasses in this world too. Don't even worry about it. Adjusted my face mask, and led my crew deeper into the exhibition hall. Totally incognito. Meanwhile, right behind me, Zhao Jinxiao was trapped in the exact same existential loop. She'd been stuck in for 3 days straight. How is this even possible? How is a single, tiny county richer than my entire empire? And why does this man refuse to help me? Well, the answer was walking right next to her, holding her daughter's hand and buying her cotton candy. But she just wasn't ready to accept reality yet. Next up, the phonograph auction was absolute hype. Starting bid? A whopping 150,000 taels for a box that plays music. Ma Sanbao nearly hit the floor. 150,000? It doesn't even cook food. You could hit up the brothel 1,000 times. For that kind of cash. Hey, Uncle Ma has very specific financial benchmarks. Respect it. Within the time it takes to sip a hot cup of tea, the bidding aggressively skyrocketed to 310,000. Ma Sanbao's eye was twitching uncontrollably at this point. Zhao Jinxiao leaned in close and whispered, "Okay, so how much does one of those actually cost to make?" I let out a totally dramatic sigh. Honestly, it's basically a massive loss for us. We're practically giving them away for free. I confidently held up 2 fingers. 20 taels. Yeah, 20. 10 for labor, 10 for materials. A device that sells for a minimum of 250 and easily auctions off at 300,000. Just for the exclusive distribution rights. And here I was calling it barely breaking even. Ma Sanbao looked like a man watching his entire reality shatter into pieces in real time. 20. You said 20? A loss leader. Wait, what? Zhao Jinxiao looked like she wanted to punch me into next week. I could literally see her fists clenching, but her brain was doing too much insane mental math to actually let her body commit violence. So I broke down the entire business model for her. Because honestly, I was flexing hard, and there was absolutely no stopping me. Just look at the DK region alone, we're talking 12 million households. Even by a conservative estimate, at least 100,000 of them can easily afford luxury goods. Now, let's say a measly 10% actually buy in. That's still 10,000 units sold at a minimum of 300 taels each. Boom, that is 3 million taels in straight retail value. Meanwhile, the main distributor drops 35,000 just for the exclusive rights, marks up the price and splits up the sub-distribution rights to the second tier and third tier regional dealers. They'll completely recoup their entire investment within a single month. And everything after that?
Pure, un filter de profit.
While they scramble, we sit comfortably at the very top of the pyramid eating steak. The regional distributors leave absolutely no bones behind, and the sub-distributors get to drink the leftover soup. Everyone gets a piece of the pie, but we walk away with the lion's share. You're nothing but a straight-up crook.
Ma Sanbao barked.
Then came the final auction results. The day-con distribution rights completely shattered expectations, selling for a staggering 350,000 taels. Sia went for 420,000, and another region hit a massive 450,000. That brought our total revenue before even shipping out a single unit to a mind-blowing 1.22 million taels. The winning distributors immediately rushed into the designated conference rooms to host their very own auctions. For the sub-distribution rights, my staff personally escorted them down the hall, providing a flawless, elite white glove experience. A total one-stop shop, taking them from bidding to reselling their rights in under an hour. My county runs like a perfectly well-oiled machine, I muttered casually to absolutely nobody in particular. Next, we headed over to inspect the home electronics department. Electric kettles, advanced water heaters, sleek electric fans. Literally every single booth was absolutely mobbed by crowds. The local distribution rights were getting snatched up for 3 to 10,000 taels a pop. Sure, those might look like small numbers on their own, but when you multiply that by dozens of different products, the cash piles up insanely fast. Wait, all of these gadgets require electricity to function, don't they? Zhao Jinsha asked, his eyes narrowing with deep suspicion. Spot on. Without power, they're just incredibly overpriced living room decorations. You absolute snake, Ma Sanbao snarled under his breath. A single unit of electricity costs 10 taels out here, and running these fancy devices probably drains at least 10 units every single day. You're literally hooking them by selling the razor just to charge them for the blades. I slowly stroked my chin, smiling. Hey, 10 units a day is a pretty realistic estimate. But hey, it's not like the rich were ever going to let their money just sit around anyway. Meanwhile, Zhao Jinshao was frantically doing the math in his head, realizing the true scale of my massive business ecosystem. You use Bailiang electricity to power your Bailiang appliances, while you sip on Bailiang tea and sleep comfortably on your Bailiang mattresses, all while listening to Bailiang music. Empty your pockets straight into Bailiang's treasury. Every single product on those shelves funneled cash right back to me. And the best part? Every single item literally required another one of my products just to work. You bought an electric fan? Cool, it needs electricity. Want to play a phonograph? Still needs electricity. And guess where you buy that electricity?
Bela. Ela.
It was a perfectly closed economic loop of pure, unadulterated greed. Even Red Lady and Eagle Eye were mentally calling me an absolute scam artist. And they literally work for me. Can 1,000,000 units of electricity even cover 3 entire empires? Zhao Jinsha asked skeptical. Think about it, 300,000 wealthy households across 3 nations. That breaks down to barely 3 units per household. Not even close, I smiled. But that's the beauty of artificial scarcity, babe. If I give them an endless supply, they won't pay those insane premium prices. Keep the supply suffocatingly tight, and watch the demand skyrocket. She just stared at me with a look, stuck halfway between utter disgust and pure admiration. Call it discriminative admigust. Whatever you want to call it. She was thoroughly impressed against her will, and she absolutely hated it. Next, we wandered into the literature section. Nice, quiet, and completely civilized. It turned out the boss magistrate, the handsome magistrate, and the pretty empress had all just dropped brand new volumes. Suddenly, Eagle Eye came charging out of the adult section, frantically waving 2 illustrated novels, with some seriously suggestive cover art. I instantly broke into a cold sweat. What are you doing? I am a man of culture and integrity. Why on earth would I read such? But Ma Sanbao's curiosity got the absolute better of him. He snatched one up, flipped it open, and his entire face instantly flushed the color of a ripe tomato. Your Majesty, Miss, don't look, but it was already too late. Zhao Jinsha had already cracked open a copy of her own. With just one single glance, her face went totally scarlet. You disgusting, degenerate dog of a man. How can you read this absolute filth? Meanwhile, Juan chirped. Mommy, is that a picture book? I want to see too. No, sweetie, those are grown-up books. Definitely not for kids. I scooped up Wan in a flash, and sprinted away from the adult section as fast as I could, which unfortunately brought us directly into the personal hygiene aisle, where a crowd of overly enthusiastic merchants were actively testing out a highly specific, battery-powered adult toy. Bro, this thing is insane. It vibrates so hard my entire hand went completely numb. With this bad boy, I never have to deal with my crazy wife's nagging again. I immediately dynamic kicked Eagle Eye, the absolute genius who led us down this specific aisle. But boss, this is literally our usual route. We walk through here every single year. Yeah. Every year when I'm flying solo, you idiot. Not when I'm with my wife and my literal 4-year-old daughter. Ma Sanbao was practically howling in the background. Meanwhile, Xiao Jinshao's face was so flushed she could have fried an egg on it. She was radiating pure anger. Honestly, she was putting off enough heat to power a whole electrical grid. You are absolutely disgusting, wasting precious paper just to print absolute filth. And you actually dare to call yourself a scholar? Hey, come on. These books are practically free to make. It only costs about 10 won to print a copy. We sell them for 100. It's what we call a total loss leader. A loss leader? You've sold 500 million copies. At 10 won each. That means you're raking in hundreds of thousands in pure profit from smut. Well, I mean, yeah. But piracy is really cutting into my profit margins lately. If you actually factor in the... I do not want to hear your economic breakdown on adult novels. Look, a man's gotta diversify his revenue streams. The adult entertainment industry is completely recession-proof. That fact holds true in literally every timeline. I'm just out here applying universal economic principles. But trying to explain macroeconomics to the mother of your child, while she's holding a literal spicy book, with your own face plastered right on the cover, in a highly compromising position with a fictional empress? Yeah, there are some battles even I can't talk my way out of. Suddenly, Zhao Jinxia caught on to a specific detail I mentioned earlier, and she wasn't letting it go. Wait. Did you just say books only cost 10 when to make? Do you honestly think I'm a toddler? In the capital, a single book costs at least 1 tael minimum. Ordinary students can't even dream of buying books. They literally have to hand copy them for hundreds of won. Honestly, she wasn't wrong. Books are insanely, ridiculously expensive everywhere else. The old money, aristocratic families completely hoard all the knowledge. Control the books and you control education. Control education and you control the entire country. It's been that way for centuries. And the Empress's family, well, I mean, her father's ministry, has been getting absolutely crushed trying to fight this system. But our mass-production paper-making technology is already in its 3rd generation. So I had to explain to her that, for us, production costs practically nothing. Plus, we literally invented mass printing. We can pump out thousands of copies every single day. And get this, the exact same tech works on clothing, too. I motioned over to the fashion district, where my printed graphic tees were selling like absolute wildfire. 5 million units moved just last year. We honestly couldn't keep up with the insane demand. So, I threw the labor camp prisoners onto the sewing machines. Literal free labor. All we have to do is feed them, which drove our production costs straight into the dirt. She squeezed my hand so hard her knuckles turned completely white. You're not lying to me, are you? Why on earth would I lie? Look at the markets in Qi and Shao. Paper prices have already plummeted by half thanks to my exports. And by the end of this year, I'll probably crash their entire paper market completely. Then why is paper still so outrageously expensive in Daikian? Because the second I start selling paper to the capital, the emperor is going to sniff me out. I'm supposed to be keeping a low profile, remember? Watch your mouth when speaking of His Majesty.
Ma Sanbao barked.
Before I could reply, Wan Wan slapped her tiny hand right over my mouth. Daddy, no saying bad words. Ah, my bad, sweetie. Daddy was naughty. He deserves a little slap on the wrist. Xiao Jinxiao gave me a sharp pinch. If you have access to cheap paper, why not help Dakin? Affordable books could literally educate millions of impoverished scholars. You could be printing educational textbooks instead of trashy novels. And every single intellectual in the empire would be in my debt? Yeah, thanks, but I don't exactly want to be famous, I replied. She glared at me like she wanted to impale me with a calligraphy brush. Besides, I argued, flooding Dakin with dirt-cheap goods would utterly decimate their local industries. Paper mills go under, bookstores shut down. The entire economic ecosystem would spiral into a collapse. I'm actually doing Dakin's fragile economy a massive favor by keeping my hands off. Oh, please. So now you're some kind of saint? Bingo. I snapped my fingers, earning myself another, even harder pinch. Wincing, I tried to explain that I'd even shut down Zhao Ji's proposal to supply electricity to the imperial capital. Because the moment people lay eyes on electric light, our cover is blown forever. As long as the power grid stays far away from the capital, I get to stay comfortably in the shadows. So you'd seriously sell to every single empire except your own? Just to keep your cozy little hideout safe? Hey, I'd really appreciate your cooperation on that. But before she could murder me with her eyes, Xiao Yuan, my trade conference director, came rushing over. Sir, the main pavilion is literally about to collapse. Everyone is mobbing the venue for the electricity auction. They want in early. That's the grand finale. It's only day 3. Tell them to wait, or they're permanently banned. As she sprinted off, I smirked and turned back to Zhao Jinxia. Day 1's products were just the appetizers. The real show begins over the next 2 days. And oh boy, was it an absolute show. On day 2, I unveiled the Beiliang Peace Model 28. A bicycle, along with pedal-powered sewing machines, and heavy-duty, 3-wheeled cargo carts. Every single item sparked an absolute bidding war. Zhao Jinxia's brain was practically lagging after every reveal. A vehicle that moves without a single horse. A machine that sews all by itself? She could barely process one futuristic invention before the next. Completely shattered her worldview all over again. But day 3? Oh, day 3 was my ultimate moment. I threw on my absolute sharpest suit, strutted up to the auction stage, and looked out at hundreds of the wealthiest elites on the entire continent, all vibrating with pure hype. 3 days of relentless shopping had completely drained their wallets and their sanity, but the true whales were still hungry. They had been hoarding their gold specifically for this moment. Thank you all for supporting Beiliang. I hope these 3 days have been highly profitable. Everywhere I looked, people were wearing satisfied grins. The major distributors had already made absolute fortunes. Just by flipping sub-distribution rights. Everyone was filthy rich, incredibly happy, and ready to spend. Now, for the main event, the electricity auction. The room went dead silent. The rules are simple this time. I'm selling 10-year exclusive distribution rights. Instantly, everyone's eyes bulged. I normally only offer 3-year contracts. 10 years meant guaranteed long-term wealth, and a literal decade of monopoly profits. Additionally, I have been closely observing the heavens. I stroked my chin with mock wisdom and continued. This year's weather patterns are going to trigger way more lightning than we've ever seen. So, instead of the usual 1 million units, I'm locking in 3 million units annually, for the foreseeable future. That's 3 million units at 10 taels a pop, bringing in 30 million taels a year. Just from raw electricity revenue alone. Over a decade, we're talking 300 million. The room went so dead silent you could hear a heart drop. One exclusive national distributor per country. And the starting bid for each slot? 3 million taels. Cue the silence. Complete, total, jaw-dropping silence. Wang Debao, my literal biggest hype man, looked at me like I just asked him to buy the moon. Boss, 3 million? Isn't that a bit insane? If you sold me into slavery, I couldn't even cover a fraction of that. Look, they had money. They were filthy rich, but 3 million in pure cash. Nobody just carries that kind of liquid capital around. It was like asking someone to buy a hypercar using nothing but pocket change. Ma Sanbao leaned over and whispered to Zhao Jinxia. He's completely lost the plot this time. 3 million taels was our entire nation's tax revenue. For the whole last year. Nobody can afford this. Even Zhao Jinxia was frowning. Maybe I really had finally gotten too greedy. Chongning pouted immediately. Big brother, this isn't even a business deal anymore. It's straight-up highway robbery. But then Yonghua struck her trademark power pose. Lu Yuan, just be my man. And forget 3 million. I'll drop 5 right now. I stood up on that stage looking out at a room, packed with the wealthiest elites on the planet. And all of them were staring at me like I'd gone completely mental. Had I overplayed my hand? Was 3 million just too steep? Just wait. The room stayed dead quiet for about 5 seconds. And then the princesses actually started doing the math. And their brains absolutely caught fire. Yonghua doubled down first. 3 million? Fine. I'll pay it the second I marry Lu Yuan. After all, half of everything he owns will be mine anyway. Chongning blinked. Then her gears started turning. Wait. That actually makes perfect sense. She whipped around to her diplomat. Bid on it right now. Zhang Song-yun quickly ran the numbers and whispered, Princess, if we lock down 3 million units for 10 whole years, we'll make tens of millions just by reselling the electricity. This entire investment literally pays for itself in year 1. And just like that, 3 million didn't sound so crazy anymore. I decided to sweeten the deal right there from the stage. Listen up. Once you lock in these distribution rights, you won't have to pay a single dime for electricity up front. We'll handle the meter installations and bill you monthly. That means your only initial cost is the rights fee itself. After that, you sell the power at 15 taels per unit, and pocket a clean 5-tael profit on every single one. Multiply that profit by hundreds of thousands of customers. And oh man, I could literally see these greedy tycoons starting to drool. Zhao Ji shot a quick look over at Zhao Jinsha, who gave him the most subtle, microscopic nod. It was a secret imperial green light, disguised as a wife, just nodding politely at her husband's star student. That was all he needed. Zhao Ji jumped up. Dakian bids 3.1 million, but Princess Channing fired back without missing a beat. Xinyuan bids 3.3 million for the Dakian market rights. Zhao Ji's head almost exploded right then and there. That's our territory. What the hell do you think you're doing? Channing just smirked. Your teacher literally just said he doesn't care who buys it. Highest bidder wins. If you want power in Dakian, you might have to buy it directly from me. Master, she's cheating.
Zhao Yevhinet.
I just shrugged. Hey, it's a free market. If you can't afford it, don't complain. Brutal? Absolutely. But this is business. I'm not handing out discounts just because you're my student. That's exactly how empires grow soft and fall. Sensing the crisis, the Dakian merchants rallied behind Zhao Ji like a loyal army ready for war. Shun Wanxian, Dakian's wealthiest tycoon, stepped up. I'll back you with 1 million prince. The Yun Guild pledges 800,000. The Tianxia Guild adds another 500,000. Zhao Ji was practically tearing up with gratitude. Thank you, everyone. I swear you will be handsomely rewarded. The bidding war escalated into absolute chaos. Xinyuan and Great Xia kept relentlessly driving up the price, purely to bleed Dakian's treasury dry. Classic economic warfare. Finally, Zhao Ji completely snapped. Keep bidding up our market, and I'll do the exact same to yours. Neither of us will win. The two rival princesses exchanged looks, smirked, and finally decided to back off. The hammer fell on Dakian's electricity rights at a staggering 5.8 million taels. Ma Sanbao was drenched in sweat. My God. That's 2 whole years of our nation's tax revenue. Zhao Jinsha didn't say a word, but I could see the panic-fueled math running wild behind those stunning, utterly terrified eyes. Next up, the scenery market. The other 2 empires kept driving up the price purely out of spite. The final staggering bid? 7 million. And last but not least, Gracia, boasting the biggest territory and the largest population, which meant it came with the heftiest price tag of 8.2 million. The grand total, for selling off all 3 electricity distribution rights, a jaw-dropping 21 million taels. Let me say that again, because that kind of cash deserves its own moment. 21 million taels. To put that into perspective, Dakian's entire annual revenue, including every single tax and grain levy, amounts to just 18 million when everything is combined. I literally just made more than the entire empire's annual budget. With a single product on a random Tuesday afternoon. Zhao Jinshao was completely frozen, physically incapable of speech. Her brain was running math numbers that were literally breaking her mind. With 21 million taels, she could fully rebuild the Imperial Guard from scratch. She could easily draft and fund 500,000 additional soldiers. She could feed every single starving province in the realm, pave every broken road, and wipe out every national debt. She could transform her dying empire into an absolute superpower. And all of this insane wealth flowed through just one single county. Her county, completely run by her baby daddy, the exact same man she had been actively planning to execute. Smirking, I stepped right to the front of the stage. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. The 4th Annual International Conference is now officially concluded. Friendly reminder, all payments are due within 1 month. Absolutely no extensions. The crowd clapped so hard their palms turned raw. Even the lords who had just spent their very last coin looked ecstatic, because they knew they'd make that investment back tenfold. Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted a question about the upcoming Bailey Young Sports Tournament, happening in 3 months. More hype events, more insane cash flow. The hype machine literally never stops in my county. Backstage, Zhao Jinshao slowly walked up to me. Her vibe was completely different this time. Softer, almost human. Congratulations. 21 million taels. That's more than the entire nation's annual revenue. I blinked in sheer disbelief. Wait, you're not going to call me a greedy, money-grubbing dog this time. Money matters. I might not like your shady methods, but I finally understand why you do what you do. That was easily the closest thing to a genuine compliment she had ever given me. I was so utterly shocked I almost dropped.
Juan.
Quickly pulling Juan close, I whispered, "Bro, what is up with mommy? Did she, eat something weird today?" And then my daughter, my beautiful, little traitorous, secret-spilling genius of a daughter, whispered back, except at a volume that literally everyone within 10 feet could hear. "Listen up, Daddy. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Mommy is completely broke. She desperately wants to borrow cash from you, but she's just way too embarrassed to ask." The entire room instantly froze. Red Lady straight up snorted. Talk about a total loss of dignity. Xiao Jinsha's face cycled, from pure mortification to absolute fury, and I could tell she had this sudden, overwhelming urge to sell her own kid to a traveling circus. "You little brat. Who on earth said I needed to borrow money from him?" Juan just blinked with total innocence. She had absolutely no idea that she had just leaked the fact that the freaking Empress of Great Yen was down bad. Flat broke, running an entire empire on fumes, and way too proud to ask her baby daddy for a loan. The exact same guy who just secured 21 million in a single afternoon.
I glänst over at Xiao Jinsha.
She immediately looked away, her ears burning bright red. And for the first time in this entire journey, I saw something in her eyes that wasn't rage, suspicion, or her usual imperial dominance. It was pure, desperate need. A completely swallowed pride kind of helplessness. The most powerful woman on the planet was standing right next to the richest man on the planet, and she just couldn't bring herself to say those 4 simple words, "I need your help." But her 4-year-old just blurted it out for her at maximum volume, right in front of the whole squad. God, I freaking love my daughter. Juan's secret detonated in the room like a literal flashbang. My girl whispered it, but with a voice loud enough to be heard in the next state, exposing that her mom was completely bankrupt, and too filled with pride to ask for financial backup. Xiao Jinsha looked like she wanted the ground to open up and swallow her whole. The secret she had just mumbled under her breath had been intercepted and broadcast to the world by a toddler, who had zero concept of what discretion even meant. She went completely silent and refused to look at me, her pride and absolute desperation fighting a massive war. Right behind those stunning eyes, Ma Sanbao stormed in, absolutely furious as usual. "So what if she needs some cash? She literally gave birth to your child. She suffered alone for 5 straight years. If you had any shred of decency, she wouldn't even have to ask." You know what? The old man was completely right. I'm sitting on a literal gold mine, yet I let the mother of my child reach a point where she has to beg. What kind of man does that? "Just give me a number," I told her. "Money is the one thing I have an absolute infinite supply of." She hesitated, slowly raising one hand. 500,000? Done. I'll have it wired over this afternoon." "No, not 500 grand. Turns out she was actually about to say 50,000. 50,000 bucks. That's all she needed. In my world, that is literal pocket change. Just enough to keep her family, whatever relatives she still has left in the capital, from going completely under. But then, Red Lady opened her big mouth and ruined everything. "Try 5 million, more like it. Always acting like you're above the master, while shamelessly eyeing his wallet. Your fake dignity makes me sick." Instantly, the room temperature dropped to absolute zero. I slowly turned toward Red Lady, and unleashed a fury I'd been holding back for days. "Red Lady, shut up." She visibly flinched. I had never raised my voice like that before. Disrespecting her is a direct insult to me. She is the mother of my daughter. I don't care if we don't have a piece of paper yet. In my heart, she is the woman I am going to marry. She endured 5 years of absolute hell and humiliation, just to raise my kid, and she hasn't complained to me even once. Not a single time. You think that's an act? You seriously think a woman who braved that nightmare alone for half a decade is just pretending? I locked eyes with every single person in that room. 500 million wouldn't be enough if she asked for it. From this exact moment on, mark my words, anyone who disrespects her answers directly to me. Before, she had absolutely nobody to protect her. That story ends today. If anyone touches a single hair on her or my daughter's head, I will personally wipe out their entire bloodline. And you all damn well know I'm not bluffing. Dead silence. Nobody dared to even breathe, because they all knew exactly what I was capable of in Beilong. What I say goes. And I have never made a threat I didn't back up. Zhao Jinsha stared right at me, and for the first time, the absolute first time since she crashed back into my life, her defenses didn't just crack. They completely shattered. Every single emotion she'd been bottling up came rushing out. 5 brutal years of isolation, of being branded a total disgrace, of raising Huan all on her own, while the entire imperial court mocked her, forcing herself to be unbreakable every single second, because she had no other choice. It all hit her like a freight train, and her eyes welled up with tears. She tried desperately to fight it, biting her lip, and clenching her fists, but the emotional wave was just too powerful. Tears streamed down her face, and she was completely powerless to stop them. Ever since her father passed, no one had ever protected her. No one had ever stood up for her. No one had ever told her, "I've got this," and actually meant it. She'd been carrying the weight of, well, I thought it was just a family, but turns out it was an entire empire. But regardless of what it was, she'd been carrying it entirely alone. And then here I am, a loudmouthed county magistrate, who literally calls the emperor a dog, telling the whole damn room that this woman is my entire world, and anyone with a problem can answer to my army. Red Lady looked completely visibly shaken. She walked over to Zhao Jinsha. "Madam, I was completely out of line." She raised her hand to slap her own face in penance, but Zhao Jinsha instantly caught her by the wrist. Looking through tear-filled eyes, with a voice that barely held together, she said, "I am a woman myself. I would never make life harder for another woman." With just that one sentence, Red Lady, the tough, sword-wielding dragon lady, felt something massive shift deep in her chest. Whatever bitter malice she'd been harboring toward my wife, instantly shattered. Then Zhao Jinsha turned to face me. Forcing her voice to stay steady, she said, "I'll write you a formal IOU. Everyone here is a witness. If I fail to pay you back, you can take my life." I gently wiped the tears from her face with my thumb. "I never once doubted you. You know why I built Beiyang? Sure, a big part of it was pure survival, but a huge part of it was for you. I've been building this entire empire since the exact night you left. So basically, Beiyang's success is your success too." Ma Sanbei was totally right. I was a complete idiot for making you ask. 500 grand for you, and another 500 grand for Wan. That's 1 million a year. Done deal. Her mind was completely blown all over again. She was barely holding herself together, and then I hit her with a million-tail bomb. "An annual allowance? That's way too much." She choked out. "I can never repay that, lady." "You seriously have no clue. You literally run this entire country. I pay taxes too, but you're completely oblivious. I know the truth, but you have no idea that I know. So here we are, just 2 idiots, dancing around the biggest, most guarded secret in the entire empire." I gently took her hand. "The husband brings home the cash, and the wife spends it. That's just how it works. My wife and daughter deserve nothing but the absolute best."
No arguments.
I pulled her close and she went stiff as a board, her face completely flushed and her ears turning crimson. As we walked away from the backstage area, I overheard the reaction behind us. Zhao Ji turned to Zhong Wei. "Hey, how much is Beilong Pass's entire annual military budget anyway?" Zhong Wei, looking completely dead inside, replied, "About 1/50th of what the Empress just got for pocket money." Zhao Ji sighed. "I've been grinding in business for years, and I can't even make what my cousin just got with a single sentence." By the time we got back home, Chow, my secretary, had already arranged the delivery. There were stacks and stacks of crates filled with gold. Not silver, pure gold. They were piled high in Zhao Jinsha's courtyard, looking like a literal golden mountain. 50,000 taels of refined, ultra-high purity gold. Each tael is worth 12 to 13 silver taels. On the open market, silver is just way too heavy, so I explained to her that gold is much easier to move around. "And don't worry, this comes straight from my personal profits, not the public treasury. I obviously can't use county funds for my own personal business. The other 500,000 will be ready in just a few days." When Ma Sanbao saw all that gold, he completely lost his mind. He literally lunged onto the crates, prying one open, and the blinding gleam of pure gold almost took his eyes out. He started caressing the gold bars like they were adorable puppies. "Gold? Beautiful, beautiful gold. Ha ha ha." But then he suddenly broke down sobbing, weeping uncontrollably. right into the pile of bullion. He couldn't help but think about the late emperor, Zhao Jinxia's father, who had died of a broken heart because the imperial treasury was bone dry. If only he had possessed this kind of wealth back then, maybe he wouldn't have just wasted away. Maybe that whole coup never would have gone down. Maybe everything would be completely different right now. Honestly, I couldn't get why a servant was sobbing over gold. Like it was personal, but hey, I let him have his moment. Then, I did something that completely shocked me. I reached deep into my pocket and pulled out a key. It was small, iron, and looked totally basic. Here. I literally pressed it right into Xiao Jinxiao's hand. This is the key to my ultimate personal vault. Every single cent I own. Take whatever you want, whenever you want it. No questions asked, no receipts needed, and absolutely no limits. She just stared at the key in her palm. Then at me, then at the massive mountain of gold, and then straight back to the key. Think about it. The most powerful woman on earth, holding the master key to the absolute richest man alive's entire megafortune. Handed over for free, no strings attached, and zero mind games. Why? Because I love her. It's honestly that simple. She gripped the key tight and stayed dead silent, but she didn't give it back. And that right there, worth way more than 21 million. Tails. Wait, hold up. She didn't take it? I completely poured my heart out, offered her the golden ticket to my entire empire, told her that everything I own belongs to her, and she just glares at me and goes, "You're only bribing me with this to make me your partner in crime." Ouch. That one cut deep, like seriously hurt. Not gonna lie, guys, I felt my chest implode a little bit. I looked her dead in the eye and said, something I hadn't said to a single soul in 2 entire lifetimes. I'm giving you my real, raw heart. You don't have to accept it, but please don't stomp all over it. I'm human too, you know? Then I grabbed Wan and just walked away. Because if I stayed there for even one more second, I knew I was gonna say something I'd seriously regret, and I'm genuinely trying to be a better guy here. Later that night, after I finally got Huang to sleep, she was squished between us like a tiny human barricade. As usual, Zhao Jinxia completely dropped a bombshell. We're moving out tomorrow. I bolted upright so fast I almost yeeted the baby. Wait, what? Already? Can't you just stay for a few more days? The central province has been suffering a brutal drought for 3 years. There are 0 harvests, and desperate refugees are flooding the capital. Look, I've got to go back and help. Help with what? That's literally the government's job. Why is your family carrying this entire weight? Wait. Don't tell me. Is the emperor forcing your dad to bankroll disaster relief completely out of pocket? Is that why you need cash? Instantly, she froze solid. Look, if that absolute dog of an emperor is squeezing your family, just bring your dad here. I'll hide him myself. That useless empress won't ever find him. Stop calling her majesty a dog. Is she seriously that incompetent in your eyes? That actually made me pause. Alright, I respect her grit. A woman taking the throne? Total boss move. Hearing this, her expression softened a bit. But then, I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. But honestly, she's a total clown. Without her, the great Dabin Empire could have limped on for another 20 years. But the massive blunders she's pulled since taking over? It's like watching a grandma stumble into the wrong room. It's so hilariously bad. I'm practically dying of laughter here. Suddenly, her face went from calm to straight-up volcanic. Tell me then, what exactly has she done that's so stupid? Because, from what I've seen, every move Her Majesty makes is brilliant and profoundly righteous. Oh boy, she wanted receipts? I've got a whole mountain of receipts. Let's start with how she absolutely obliterated the eunuch faction. On the surface, it looks like a masterstroke, right? Getting rid of corrupt, power-tripping eunuchs. Everyone hated them, so cleaning house felt amazing. Exactly. Those eunuch dogs got exactly what they deserved. Sure. But after she wiped them off the board, did she actually secure more power for herself? Nope. Her authority completely tanked. Now, she's more trapped than she's ever been. Xiao Jinxiao went dead silent, so I kept dropping truth bombs. And don't even get me started on Prince Duan backing her. The guy is basically just a glorified mascot. The real puppet masters are the nobles of the new party faction. They deliberately put a woman on the throne, solely because they knew she'd be easier to manipulate. Prince Duan had to cut sketchy backroom deals with every single one of them just to secure their votes. Think about it. Why else wouldn't they crown a prince? It's not like they were short on male heirs. Her face went completely pale. And guess what? Now the new party is aggressively pressuring her to choose a husband. Not because they care about her happiness, but because they desperately want a male heir to replace her. Someone they can control. Right now, every noble family is shoving their prettiest young men right at her. But the second she has a son and names him crown prince, boom. That's the exact day the empress becomes completely expendable. Yeah, I actually said that straight to the empress's face, spelling out her very own future assassination. She was visibly shaking, but I wasn't even done yet. See, here's what the empress fundamentally misunderstands about the eunuch faction. Eunuchs are castrated. They can't have children, meaning they can't start their own dynasties. They have absolutely zero independent power base. Literally every ounce of their authority flows directly from the emperor. They exist purely as an extension of the imperial will. If the emperor says move, they move. If he says stop, they stop. If he says die, they drop dead. Sure, they were ruthless, but they were the perfect weapon. The late emperor didn't step foot in court for 15 whole years. You really think that was just laziness? The new party completely blocked him. They didn't want him having a voice. So what did he do? He built up the eunuch faction to hard counter them. Those eunuchs wiped out new party officials and seized their massive wealth. Dirty money that literally kept the entire empire financially afloat for years. You're just making this up. Look, the late emperor engineered the eunuch faction. For one specific reason, to act as a leash on the new party. It was easily his most brilliant strategic masterpiece. The eunuchs were the only real check on noble corruption. And yet, his genius daughter, the empress, just waltzed right in and obliterated her father's life's work. All because she thought she was merely cleaning house. Xiao Jin looked like I had just punched her straight in the gut. Now the new party faces zero opposition. They have nobody left to fear, and nobody to stop their boundless greed. The empress literally eliminated the only shield protecting her own throne. And the worst part? She's proud of it. I just shook my head in pity. That right there is the ultimate recipe for her own downfall. And she doesn't even see it coming. Cue the dead silence. The kind of heavy, suffocating silence, where you can hear your own heart hammering in your chest. She was lying there on her side, facing completely away from me. I couldn't catch her expression, but her shoulders were violently trembling. I had absolutely no clue, zero, that I had just completely dismantled her entire political career, right to her face, telling her that her absolute proudest achievement was actually her single biggest, most catastrophic mistake. That her father's legacy, the one she thought she was honoring and protecting, was actually the very thing she'd burned to the ground. That the beloved uncle she trusted with her life had been actively sabotaging her power from day one. That she was walking straight into a deadly trap, set to end with her execution. And the absolute worst part? She couldn't even argue because deep down, she already knew. She'd been feeling it all along. The creeping powerlessness, the greedy nobles closing in, the relentless marriage pressure, and the suffocating, crushing loneliness of a throne that was supposed to grant her freedom, but had instead become her gilded cage. And here's some random provincial magistrate calling her a dog, laying out the harsh reality of her own empire, better than any of her high-paid advisors ever could. Needless to say, she didn't sleep a wink that night. And trust me, neither did I. Just two people lying awake in the exact same bed, literally separated by a sleeping kid, absolutely drowning in all the unsaid words hanging in the air. She originally came to Beyoncé looking for a baby daddy, but instead, she found the only person who actually sees her. Not the crown, not the status, not the power, just her. And the kicker? He has absolutely no idea he's doing it. Because I'm still convinced she's just the daughter of some random noble from the capital. Like, I'm a literal genius who invented electricity, but I'm still too dense to realize my girlfriend is the literal emperor. Honestly, the irony is physically painful.